quick and simple. You can do
Good morning, everyone.
If those spectacular breast implants aren't so spectacular anymore, or if you wish to...
Welcome. If you're new here, my name is Brian Craig. This is the longest-running radio show in Florida. We're on 4 radio stations here in Florida. We're in South Florida. It's also the most pro-Donald Trump radio show anywhere. Doing clown hands, right? Are these clown hands? Anywhere. And we're live 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, live in Morning Drive. Welcome. Hey, Jeff. Here we go.
Long-term care benefits. Call attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel
So
Group
much
and find
happening.
out
If you're not subscribed, please
available
subscribe.
to you. With offices in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782. 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll-free, dial 1-888-GO-CANE-1. That's 1-888...
Yes. All right, everyone. Welcome to the program. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. That's right. This is also the most pro-Donald Trump radio show anywhere on the planet Earth. I promise you that. Oh, man, another great night. Was last night a great night? Every night's a great night at this convention. Your thoughts are welcome. Open phone, so long as your conversation is relevant to the topics that, we're talking about in general. At 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. Well, tonight's the big night. The boss is going to come out. That's Donald Trump. President Trump's going to come out and accept the nomination. It's going to be different than anything we've ever seen before because it's Trump, and we know he does everything in a different way. And the media are already having a meltdown. Now, again, it doesn't matter what the issue is. They're always going to have a meltdown no matter what President Trump does. Okay? So do not take their meltdowns over everything involving President Trump in the convention in a serious way whatsoever, because they're going to criticize and have a meltdown over everything he says, everything he does, every way he reacts. But tonight, at the acceptance speech, which will be at the People's House, the White House, it's expected there will be 1,000 to 1,500 people in attendance. This is from the Washington Post. Republicans, mostly virtual convention, continues. Okay, and between 1,000 to 1,500 expected to attend the acceptance speech at the White House. And of course, they're saying many have not been tested, masks are not required, and this violates the D.C. ban on gatherings of more than 50 people. Well, there's a lot to say about this. What do they say on Fox all the time? I hate this. Harris Faulkner. There's lots to unpack here. Can they get a new phrase? Oh my gosh. The pundit phrase used to be the notion. That was like 10 years. Now they're unpacking all the time. Always unpacking everything. But first off, about violating D.C.'s ordinance against gatherings of 50 or more people, the municipal government of the District of Columbia does not tell the federal government what to do, and that includes Presidente de Estados Unidos. Okay, so that's that. They say some, not all, have been tested. There'll be between 1,000 and 1,500. We don't know about all that. In the past few months, I've been doing lots of things. You hear me talk about I go to Disney World all the time. And in fact, I was just at Disney World again this past Saturday. And there's more than 1,500 people at Walt Disney World. Okay? I've been to the Magic Kingdom. I've been to Epcot. I've been to Disney Springs. I've been all over the place. I've been riding the rides, been on Space Mountain, and everything else. Everything's cool. Okay? No problems, no outbreaks. Many more people than 1,500 there each and every day. Yesterday, on my way home, I did something crazy. I did something completely insane on my way home yesterday. After the show, I had to stop by Friendly Tire and talk to Friendly Mike about some things. And on my way home from Friendly Tire, I was driving on 441, and I passed the Seminole Indian Casino in Coconut Creek. And I thought to myself, let me stop in. I don't go to casinos, maybe once every couple of years. Usually for Thanksgiving dinner, my wife and I go to the casino for Thanksgiving dinner with our daughter. You know, we kind of like doing that. But, you know, I don't go to the casinos. I'm not a gambler. Those of you that have been on the cruises, I don't gamble. I really don't gamble. I did a little bit yesterday on the slots. I went into the Coconut Creek Seminole Indian Casino yesterday, and I lost money. I lost $9.70. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know. Unbelievable. I went in with $20. I came out with $10.30. I lost $9.70 yesterday. I know. But I went into the casino yesterday, and I was amazed at what's going on inside the casino. Have any of you been inside a casino? They have the sanitation team is walking around everywhere sanitizing everything all the time, and they will sanitize on demand. Right? I sat down at a slot machine. I walked around for a while, found a slot machine that wasn't all that lucky for me. But before I sat down, I saw the sanitation team member there, and I asked them, and yes, they sanitized the slot machine, the buttons on the slot machine. They sanitized the chair. They sanitized the front, the side. They sanitized the whole thing. And by the way, they did the same to the one next to me, even though no one was using it. It's every other slot machine. They're doing social distancing. And I went by the card tables, and they've got little plexiglass things like they will have in classrooms set up at the tables. Everyone's got their own little cubicle surrounded by plexiglass at the card tables. I made a YouTube video of this. I did post it to Twitter yesterday. I'll repost it during the break so you guys can go and watch it. I made a YouTube vlog of the casino yesterday and what they're doing. So anyway, the reason I'm sharing all this with you is it's okay. It's okay. Take precautions. I wear my mask. I wash my hands all the damn time. I don't go anywhere without Lysol and hand sanitizer. No doubt about that. And I'm taking all kinds of precautions, but I'm still living my life. And at the president's acceptance speech, and by the way, the parking lot at the casino had a lot of cars in it. Oh my goodness, people love that gambling. The president's acceptance speech last night, between 1,000 and 1,500 people. Don't believe what they're telling us that people are not being tested and things. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's see what happens tonight. I don't trust the poison that is known as the cable news. Cable news is a poison on American society. It's worse than Twitter. The reason it's worse than Twitter is they have credibility. They're news. They got all these famous people that are on there all the time, you know, so they got credibility. Unlike the mob on the Twitter, they have no credibility. So the mainstream media is a greater poison than Twitter because it's taken as a serious thing. So between 1,000 and 1,500 people tonight, I promise you they'll be taking care of business over there at the White House. There have been many, many events surrounding this president for the past few months. No problems. They just don't want him to have a crowd cheering, unlike Basement Biden, who accepted on a Zoom connection, right? And they just don't want that visual of people applauding and cheering. Believe me, they'll be distanced. There'll be testing. There'll be masks if people want to wear. There'll be all kinds of things going on. Don't you worry. It'll be fine. But part of the job of the president, whoever the president is to bring calm to people. I use this example because it's so true. Part of what President Trump is doing tonight, he's done it before with events he's been at, is to show people that it's safe, take precautions, wear masks when necessary, wash your hands, use the sanitizer. You know all this stuff. I don't have to tell you. Yeah, but life must go on. And he wants to show calmness, control, and safety. That's why President Bush went back to the White House and slept at the White House on the night of September 11th to show America that it was okay, not to be frightened, even though the leaders around him, his advisors, didn't want him to. He did it with the First Lady. It was very important for him to do that. He went back, landed, boom, went there. It's okay. I'm back at the White House, which was a target on 9/11, it's believed. So, that's what presidents are supposed to do, not cause a panic. What Biden and Kamala Harris are doing, 30 feet apart for every interview. I don't know if they're 30 feet apart because of social distancing guidelines with the corona, or if his advisors are afraid that Biden's going to try to smell her hair and keeping them apart. They don't want him to be in a close photo op with Kamala. I don't know why. But when you see Kamala and Biden 30 feet apart wearing masks, which is absurd being that far apart, does that show calmness? Does that show a sense of security, or does it show panic? So that's that. So I think however Trump is doing it tonight, I trust Trump. They'll do what's right, and the media are always trying to look for some fake news controversy to criticize President Trump. There's nothing to worry about, people. Trump knows what he's doing. Haven't you watched this convention the past 3 nights? Does Trump know what he's doing, or does he know what he's doing? Oh my goodness. Trump has redefined how political conventions will be done from this point forward. This is the most it's really interesting to watch people come out and give these speeches to empty rooms and be fascinated and hanging on their every word. I've got to go to bed early because I got to get up in the morning to be here with you good people. So, it's so difficult for me this week to go to bed at night, to go to sleep, because I don't want to miss any of this excitement that's going on in the convention at the Trump production. And they know that what the grand finale, everything's been building up to the grand finale, and this has been a very, very successful production. They're trying to discount, and you know what the media are doing? They're so stupid. They're so stupid. They're so consumed with their hate of this president, they can't think clearly. What they're doing by causing this fake controversy, 1,500 people, no mask, they're not all going to be tested. They're creating a curiosity among people. The ratings tonight, they're increasing the ratings in their stupidity. They're trying to bring the president down, but they're increasing viewership because everyone's going to want to check in to see what it looks like. Are they social distanced? Are they wearing masks? Were they tested? So the ratings tonight are going to be much higher than they would have been already because the media are going to be attacking the format of tonight's acceptance speech. They're stupid people. All right, 15 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian Craig. That's right, this is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. We'll take a break and be back. Don't go anywhere.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of
This is a new Adam the Woo shirt I got.
Has provided coverage
it says
to those of
the
you who
Woo.
are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends.
Do all you guys know Adam the Woo?
At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to 1 pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name-brand shoes. They're stylish. They will provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
President Trump here. Join Steve Kane and Brian Craig on the Steve Kane Trump 2020 Victory Cruise on board the Celebrity Edge. The cruise will be to celebrate my re-election. Don't be a loser, be a winner, just like me. And join Steve Kane and Brian Craig on the Steve Kane Trump 2020 Victory Cruise.
Thank you, Mr. President. Join Steve Kane and me, Brian Craig, celebrating the victory of President Trump as we sail December 6th out of Fort Lauderdale on a 7-day Trump 2020 Victory Cruise. First stop, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Second stop, Tortola, British Virgin Islands, and then St. Martin. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot, 561-244-5779, 561-244-5779, and join us celebrating the re-election of President Trump, 561-244-5779.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, welcome back. Yeah, everyone, and make sure you call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. Cruising resumes November 1st. Our cruise is December 6th for that week-long cruise, and I'm excited. Don't you guys need a vacation? I need a vacation. This Trump flag I have here on the wall, I want to take that on the cruise. That's right. That's right. And we're just going to have a great time. And you are all invited except Liberal Al the John. Liberal Al the John, you're not invited. Everyone else is. It's going to be a great victory cruise. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. His number, 561-244-5779. And because of world events this past year, the prices are out of this world low. This is the most advanced cruise ship on the oceans. Okay? The Celebrity Edge. The most advanced cruise ship ever built. Very unique. Cruise ship, and you'll never have an opportunity to travel at these incredible low prices on a ship so luxurious, so grand, and so advanced. Ian's number listed at stevekaneshow.com, 561-244-5779. All right, so the media are trying to destroy the acceptance speech tonight by criticizing the attendance all day, which will increase ratings. And then there's this fake news story they were running with yesterday, that the cable news ratings were low, and they're implying that fewer people are watching the convention because the ratings at CNN and MSDNC, MS13BC are lower than they were on night one. Fox News is doing okay, but not as good as expected. You've heard the story, right? That is one of the most misleading fake news stories that we've had, I would say probably. Well, there's so much fake news, it's hard to say this is the biggest fake news story, but it's a pretty big one. How are you watching the convention? I'll tell you how I'm watching it. Not on TV. I was going to watch it on TV on night one, and then Fox News cut in. And I've been watching the convention on YouTube all week. Various channels, Right Side Broadcasting, sometimes C-SPAN's YouTube channel, sometimes Fox News's YouTube channel, whichever one comes up in my recommendations. I've been watching it on YouTube. I get YouTube on the TV in the living room, YouTube on the TV in the bedroom, big screen. I watch it there. And I enjoy watching it there because no one's cutting in. That's a lie! He didn't! It's a lie! You know, and I don't need all the fact checkers coming in all the time. Right? I don't need Tucker and Hannity coming in with station identifications and telling me all this crap. So I just watch it live and raw from the official RNC feed on YouTube. And I know a lot of you are too, and I know millions of people are, because I look at the views that are on these things live, and it's six figures. You know, and it goes up quick. And the media, they're looking to discount Trump. They don't want to tell you the truth because they don't want to tell you that the internet may be more influential. There may be more people watching YouTube, which there are, than watching the television cable news. So don't believe any of this nonsense. Now, this violence in Wisconsin is getting completely out of control. They got this white kid. This 17-year-old lunatic. I saw the video of him. Does that 17-year-old kid look sane? Kyle Rittenhouse? Okay, he looks like a nut. And if it's true that he's 17, he was illegally in possession of that gun. You have to be 18 to own a firearm, a rifle. 21 to own a handgun, 18 for a rifle. So he was beyond the murder, beyond that he did, which terrible thing. But he was illegally in possession of a weapon. And this is from CBS News' Chicago affiliate. They got a picture of him holding the AR-15. He's wearing Crocs and black socks. Well, first, and there's stars and stripes, the American flag Crocs. Well, first off, anyone who's wearing Crocs with black socks that go up to their knees is somebody that should be on everyone's watch list. Where were the parents? A 17-year-old boy is in custody, charged as a fugitive in connection with a shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin that left 2 dead and another wounded. Kenosha County authorities issued an arrest warrant for 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse. Since when do they give out the names of minors? I thought when they were under 18 they withheld that for a while. Yeah. He's been charged with first-degree intentional homicide. He was arrested late Wednesday morning. He was taken to the Lake County Juvenile Detention Center. An extradition hearing is scheduled for tomorrow. The shooting took place around 11:45 p.m. Tuesday in Kenosha amid the third night of unrest following the police shooting of 29-year-old Jacob Blake. And it's a terrible thing, okay, that he did. I mean, he's a lunatic. He was illegally possessing the rifle because he's under the age of 18. And, of course, he murdered people. But I'll tell you, and I'm not the first to come up with this one. I saw this on Michael Savage's website this morning. I don't know if he talked about it on the radio yesterday. But I saw it on his website this morning, and Michael Savage made a very good point. They got the name of this guy in record time out there, don't they? And notice how we know everything about him. Oh, he was at a MAGA rally. Here's his pictures. Here's his social media. Here's his name of the underage. And the reason that is because he went to a MAGA event. What was the name of the guy that shot Steve Scalise? I can't remember his name. I could Google it. I know he was a Democrat. I know he was a Bernie bro. We were told when the Bernie Sanders supporter, the Bernie bro, shot Steve Scalise, that was no statement on Bernie Sanders' movement or people or positions or Bernie Sanders himself. Because one lunatic goes and does something doesn't mean that the entire political movement and the politician he supports has any blame. Now all of a sudden, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, because this kid went to a MAGA rally, it's an indictment on the president. It's an indictment on everyone at the convention and an indictment against all of those who support President Trump. Why did they not apply that to the Bernie bro that shot Steve Scalise and tried, by the way, to shoot the entire Republican baseball team? These people are out of their minds. And on top of this, justice will be done here. This kid will never be free again. He might get some insanity plea because he looked crazed to me, watching him walking down the street that way. But all of the death of children has taken place because of these protests that have been going on for the past several months. I haven't seen anyone identified that's underage as being responsible for anything. Now all of a sudden in record time they got this guy out here because they want to try to use it against the president because that's what the scummy media do. But I'll tell you, this 17-year-old punk who's going to go to prison, he's going to be incarcerated for the rest of his life. He murdered 2 people, shot a third. I don't care if he was 17. He's going away forever. And he should. Kyle Rittenhouse is his name. First time I've ever seen the name of a minor released so quick. So quick. They got his name and information out there faster than the school shooters. I've never seen anything like that. But I'm not taking any responsibility away from this loon, murderer. But a lot of what you saw happening in Wisconsin, I was talking to Steve about this yesterday, people are afraid with this defund the police movement. I saw that video. The police are overwhelmed out there. They don't know what to do. Part of policing is the public's fear of them, and the fear of whatever they can do, whether it's arresting you, a criminal record, incarceration, or being shot by police without them doing anything is in itself typically a deterrent to crime. But the bad guys are losing fear of police, and the police didn't look like they were doing too much in that video because they're overwhelmed. This Rittenhouse animal, who is a murderer and should go away for the rest of his life. I don't care that he's 17 years old. Should go away for the rest of his life. Okay. It's a product of this defund the police movement. People in this country are afraid, and people in this country are becoming vigilantes because they're afraid. There's also some lunatic militia types out there that are using it as an excuse. I'm not a fool, but people in this country feel that they've got to be their own police in these cities where some of this is going on. And the professional activist demonstrators, they made a big mistake out in Wisconsin. I was talking to Steve about this yesterday, and I think it's an important point. When you're in Portland or Seattle, or even New York, when you're in these liberal communities, these left-wing Birkenstock-wearing barista Starbucks towns, I'm making fun, but I'm drinking Starbucks right now, but you know what I mean. When you're in these liberal towns like Portland or Seattle or even New York City, very few people other than law enforcement have weapons except for criminals. You go to a place like Wisconsin, it's like Florida. Everyone has a gun. Not only does everyone have a gun there, in the surrounding states too. And they started violent protest in a place where everyone's strapped. And it's a prime example of why this has to be toned down and stopped. That's why you don't see these types of things in Florida too much. And if you do, they always happen in gun-free zones, like a school or bar. Everyone in Florida has guns. And if they started behaving in Florida like they're behaving in Portland, it would sadly turn into what's going on in Wisconsin. Bloody Kansas is what's going on there. It's 6:30 in the morning. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll take some calls after the break. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
This is Dr. Matez from the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. Have you lost the sensation in your breast with age,
Steve Kane
or as
Show.
a result of breast implants? Do you have scars, stretch marks, or the dreaded droop? Great news, we can correct it all with a simple, non-surgical treatment known as the Vampire Breast Lift. This procedure is so quick and simple, you can do it on your lunch break. If those spectacular breast implants aren't so spectacular anymore, or if you wish to rejuvenate your natural breast tissue, soften scars and stretch marks, and regain sensation, the Vampire Breast Lift is for you. Call me at 561-953-5490. That's 561-953-5490, or visit my website at www.hormonetherapybocaraton.com.
It's hurricane season again. This year, forecasters predict as many as 10 hurricanes. Are you prepared if a hurricane strikes? Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware is your hurricane preparation location. You don't want to go through hurricane season without a generator. Ace carry generators for all size homes at prices to fit every budget. Once a hurricane is on television, generators are the first thing to sell out. But you will have the security of knowing you will not be without electricity if a hurricane hits. With your generator from Ace, you will have the security for every hurricane season to come. Ace also have an incredible selection of chainsaws to cut away the fallen debris. Ace Hardware Deerfield is just south of Hillsboro on the west side of US 1. Beach Ace Hardware is located at 232 Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea. Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware, your first stop for hurricane prep. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid
Steve Kane Show.
Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida. from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
Oh man, and I was just looking during the break. Hurricane Laura. Oh boy, it's Cat 2, 110 mile an hour winds, made landfall in Louisiana as a Cat 4. I don't think we've had anything close to that in the years I've lived in Florida. I don't think we've had maybe a 3, maybe, but this is some hardcore stuff. Listen, I told you. This is going to be a rough hurricane season. A rough one. It is already. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors. Have her review your hurricane coverage. Make sure that everything you need covered is covered. Make sure if a storm hits, you're protected. I have no worries. I don't want the hurricane to hit. I don't want the hurricane to take my roof or damage my home, but I know that if it does, if I have a flood, whatever happens, I'm protected because Debbie at I Will Advisors reviewed my policy, and she can review yours too at no charge. And when you talk to Debbie at I Will Advisors, and by the way, whether you have a condo, single-family home, or commercial property, no matter where you are in the state of Florida, Debbie and her team can help you. Go through, say, Debbie, if this happens, am I covered? If that's taken out, is it covered? Ask her, she'll tell you. And if you get to that unfortunate situation where you need to use that insurance, hopefully you'll never have to use it, but if you do, I Will Advisors, Debbie and her crew over there will make sure that you are hooked up with an insurance company that is your advocate. Because that's what you do. I mean, that hurricane hits. I've had to use my hurricane coverage once when we had our hurricanes a couple years back. You call up Debbie, you call up the office, they help you out. Listen, give them a call. If you can't call during business hours, call now. If you're an overnight listener, call at night, leave a message. They will call you back during business hours. Here's the number, 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. Mike and Boca, you're on the radio.
Hey, good morning. How are you, Brian?
All right, how are you?
Good. It doesn't get any better. I mean, last night, RFC, top notch.
I mean, there was faith healing there last night. Did you see the kid who is paralyzed from the waist down get up and stand up for our flag? I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, you sound like CNN when you said faith healing.
Yeah, I know. It was faith healing. It was faith healing. Did they call it faith healing? Is that what they said on CNN?
I would imagine so.
It's true. No, when he got up, when he got up, that was a statement on all of these spoiled millionaires in the NBA. I'm walking off. I'm not going to play. I'm not going to stand. I'm going to kneel. His name is Madison Cawthorn, and he's running for Congress. I wish I could vote for him. Yeah.
Dan Crenshaw. I love that. It's dark outside. He's got a nice black suit on. You can just see his face, his eye patch, and he's on a huge warship. I'm like, oh man, this is great. That was so cool.
Oh yeah, I'm glad he wore the eye patch because Dan Crenshaw, I like him, but he's got all these glass eyes that have designs and decorations on them, and his glass eyes creep me out. I don't like it. I like it when he's got the patch on.
Meanwhile, I don't know if he caught this, but an hour into the RNC in Minnesota, this gentleman who was wanted for homicide, and he killed himself. Now, somehow that leaked out to Facebook, Twitter world, and they said, another black man has died in jail due to the cops.
Yeah, I know.
They went to looks like a nice 2-story target, and they attempted to destroy it. Now, I don't know
what I'm wrong about. What am I wrong about, Curtis? Tell me.
The video was released on Twitter by several people, and it's terrible.
Yeah, that's happened before. There was There was a suicide a few years ago in Belle Glade. A black man committed suicide by hanging himself, which is a common way that people commit suicide, and they were calling that a lynching. No, yeah.
And the best thing in Crenshaw, the last night, the end of the RNC, I have a feeling that he might be there, President Trump, and he was. And if you look on the internet, everyone's saying, "Oh, President Trump stole Mike Pence's thunder."
Yeah,
no, he didn't.
Yeah. No, and in fact, Basement Biden came out on the night before the last night of the DNC convention with Kamala, if you remember, after her speech. That's tradition. That's what they always do.
I thought it was... Last night was really good. I mean...
No, you're right. I support that. 21 to own a gun is... I support
regular
it.
people speaking, they were talking about the nun. I heard that when the nun came out, MSNBC totally took it off the air until she was done.
Yeah, I know. That's what they do. Well, it was a great night last night. It'll be a great night tonight for the grand finale. And Donald Trump will be reelected in a landslide.
Definitely.
All right, Mike and Boca, appreciate the call. Richie the bus driver, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Donna Brazil report at the end of it all, because I watched it on Right Side Broadcasting, like you, on YouTube. I don't want an interruption. But I switched over to Fox. And Juan Williams said it was a great, great night for the president. And Donna Brazil said the same thing. There was no negativity at all. Her head was bowed down like she was in a state of shock.
No, they've been converted, right?
And with all, they couldn't say anything. I mean, they reached out to the black voter. Now I'm going to speak to you about this 17-year-old kid. He first of all, he shouldn't have had a gun. Okay?
Well, he illegally was in possession of the gun at 17. You have to be 18.
Right, but he might be 18. That's sweet for all we know. But it's technicality here. He shouldn't have been where he was. But there was I watched Crowder in the morning on YouTube. Okay, he had a sane report from a station over there that witnessed the first shooting. The kid that got his head shot off, or he hit him with they were attacked. First of all, he interviewed the guy the night before. He was in uniform at a car dealership, and he said, "What are you here for?" And the guy, he said he sounded very sane. He said, because the police did not protect any of the property the first night, which was true, they let everything burn. He said, "I've come here with other people, and we're here to protect the businesses since the police aren't going to do it." So he stood the first night out there, and he didn't do anything. The night before, the guy that got shot in the head, along with others, saw him and decided we're going to attack him. And he shot the guy out of self-defense, eyewitness, and then he took the gun and he tried to get away, and they were screaming, "Get the guy with the gun!" And he couldn't hide the gun, and they were ready to stop his brains out. That had to have been Al-Tifa that was there.
I'll tell you this, okay? And I don't doubt anything that you say is... Oh, no, hold on, I want to talk to you about what you said. All right, go ahead with the one more thing, Richie.
Yeah, so the guy that he shot him in the arm. He had a pistol and he was ready to shoot him. How do you...
Okay, here's the thing. Okay, I don't doubt anything that you say is true. I'm sure it is. It's a developing story. Things are going to come out in more detail. This kid at 17 is a George Zimmerman type. Okay, he George Zimmerman and this punk. This guy, he crossed state lines. He went there. It's not his community. It's not his neighborhood. By the way, so far as I know now I'm always open to new information, okay? But so far as I know, he traveled there illegally with that weapon. He's not 18 years old, and he went there because he was a wannabe something, like George Zimmerman was a wannabe something. And what he did is he broke the law by being there with the gun, by traveling there with the gun, and he put himself in a situation where events escalated that resulted in the death of 2 people, and another one being forever maimed. So he's a lunatic. He's a
No, hold it. He's a misguided patriot. You call?
No, I don't call him that. You know, there's a reporter who was an old CBS or ABC reporter. I don't remember this guy's name. He's not around anymore. He used to be on TV all the time in the 80s. And he used to tell this story all the time. He was in Dallas the day that President Kennedy was shot. He was right there, and he ran into the book depository to call the news that he worked for, to what was going on. He ran into Lee Harvey Oswald, and he asked Lee Harvey. He didn't know who Lee Harvey Oswald was until later, but he asked him where a phone was, and he told him, and he said Lee Harvey Oswald was cool, calm, collected, sane, and everything else, Just because he seems sane during this interview and I'll tell you, calling him what did you call him, a patriot? What?
No, he thought he was a patriot.
Okay, that's as productive as when people go out there and criticize the gender of Michelle Obama. It's stupid. It plays into their hand, and you say he viewed himself as a patriot. Listen, hold on. Listen here. Listen, Richie. Villains do not consider themselves bad guys. Even Adolf Hitler did not consider himself a bad guy. So just because someone views themselves as a hero or a patriot does not mean that they are that.
Ask you a question. Can I be honest with you now?
Always be honest with me. Don't ask. Always be honest.
I'm going to throw something at you here. If you were a gun owner, which you are, and you saw a woman being beaten half to death by a mob in front of your house, you would call the police. I assume.
Yes.
If the police weren't coming, and more people were beating on this woman, and you knew she was going to die, would you go out there with your weapon, or would you let her die? That's the question. There's a lot of probablys and hypotheticals. If I saw a woman, there was an attempt to murder a woman in front of my home, and I would call the police, and if it looked like she was on death's door and the police weren't there, I very well may go out with my pistol. Maybe. I may walk out the front door and yell at them and show them the pistol like the St. Louis couple, but I don't know. Look what happened in St. Louis. What's going to happen here?
I know this, that if there was violence across town, forget about another state, I wouldn't get in my car with my guns and drive over there and consider myself a citizen patrolman.
But you're not 17, and he might have been totally.
Well, I think he stopped being 17 when he killed 2 people.
This to you, okay? Here's the deal. There'll be a lawyer that will.
Or I should say, stop being a kid at that point.
No, he'll be charged with carrying a gun illegally over, and he'll be charged with that, and he'll be convicted. He will be charged with a lot of things, but he won't be charged with murder in the first degree, and he won't be charged with manslaughter because he was it was self.
I don't know. There's some other things that led up to it. Him crossing state lines with an illegally in possession of a weapon. There's a lot of aggravating factors to that. You might be right about the degree of murder, but there's a lot of aggravating charges that he very well could be facing.
He won't get manslaughter either.
Well, he should. He should, and yeah.
He's going to defend your life. He put himself in a very bad spot, and he did the wrong thing.
Now, again, this is a developing story, so I'm being vague about a lot of particulars because they can change on a dime. But my understanding is that he was with some type of militia group, was the last report I heard.
They were defending the businesses because, now blame the politicians here, because the mayor, the liberal mayor, okay, once again, only defended the courthouse and the jail.
Yeah, when have these militias done any good by us? I mean, my goodness, the last time I heard militias was after Oklahoma City.
I agree with you 150%. He's going to get.
Well, call me on the air, Robert.
He's wrong time. Should have done what he did, but he had to do it to protect his own life because he put himself in a terrible position. But he will not get first-degree murder because, believe it or not,
I don't know if I, you've heard of like the felony murder, okay? if you are the getaway driver at a bank robbery and you're out in the car and you don't go in the bank and your fellow robbers kill people inside, you get charged with murder. You may not have had a gun. You know, he put himself in a situation where like George Zimmerman with Trayvon Martin, this punk created a situation and put himself in it that resulted in 2 deaths.
George Zimmerman walked away, and the fact of the matter is that this was Al-Tifa that was attacking him, and the guy that lost his arm, whatever it is.
He had no business being there, especially with the gun.
Well, they were trying to kill him originally. Why did they go after him to start with? Can I ask that question? Why were they burning down whole businesses and going after people? And just an example, there was a woman in a Catholic church got punched in the face, and they
I know, I saw that. I mean, that was horrendous. A woman wasn't wearing a mask at a Catholic mass, and a white woman, and a black woman punched her right in the front of the face. I know, I couldn't believe. It's appalling.
Nothing. So this is, America is getting tired of this crap with these people taking over cities and police.
All right, Richie, I got to take our last break of the first hour. If you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. I know people in the chat room are very angry at me. Call me on the air and tell me where I'm wrong. I'm open to diversity of opinion. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm not going to change what I think because some people in the chat room are being critical of it. Call me on the air and we'll have a discussion. 48 minutes after the hour, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
This is Brian Craig. I've been telling you about the great deals and incredible customer service
Steve Kane
at
Show.
Friendly Tire on both new tires and used tires. One of our listeners, Antonio, went to Friendly Tire and called to share with us his experience of buying used tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Good morning, you're on the radio.
Hey, yes, Brian, I want to give you a quick testimony about the tire place up in Margate, Friendly Tire. Friendly Tire is everything you said it would be, man. I went up there and got me some used tires, and when I went up there, man, he was very courteous. My whole family's going for that, man. Everything you said it was going to be, man. I appreciate you for that, man. And Mike's a great guy, man.
Well, what's your name?
Antonio.
All right, Antonio. Hey, I'm glad we could save you and your family lots of money on tires at Friendly Tire.
Oh, no doubt, man. Thanks so much, man.
Do what Antonio did. Stop into Friendly Tire and find incredible deals on both new and used tires. Give Friendly Mike a call right now. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. And Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. Do you think you've come in contact with someone who has coronavirus? Steve Kane's wife Lori did, and she went to Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs to find out if she has coronavirus.
So I came into contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID, and I was scared, and I needed results right away, so I went to Any Lab Test Now in Coral Springs. It was great. I didn't want to have to stay in line for 2 hours and have a swab stuck down my nose into my brain. It was very pleasant. I made an appointment. They got me in within the hour. I was out of there within 20 minutes. Thank goodness the test was negative, and I can go back to work tomorrow. They also tested me for the antibodies, and I haven't been exposed. So do what I did. Go over to Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. They give great rates for Steve Kane listeners, and tell them we sent you.
It's worth 15 minutes of your time to have peace of mind and know that you and your family are safe. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located at 955 North University Drive on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. You can call them at 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for it.
Yes, and Any Lab Tests Now of Boca and Coral Springs are open on Saturdays. Those of you that can't make it in during the week, they are open on Saturdays. And by the way, Friendly Tire in Margate also open on Saturdays. All right, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's your favorite out from Coral Springs. Let's see how...
You are not... You are not my favorite anything, and you're either going to be on topic or this is going to be a short call. We got a hot show going on, and I'm not about to turn it over to some rank amateur, so comment on the topics on the table, or it's going to be a short call. Just telling you.
Yeah, it's always a short call. Let's see how long it takes for you to hang up on me.
Well, every call every phone call ends in a hang up. After the show, I typically call my wife, touch and base with the wife, and one of us hang up. It doesn't mean I'm afraid of my wife or she's afraid of me. Phone conversations end now, but go ahead, be relevant, or say goodbye.
Okay, get to the back of the bus, Richie. You know, finally, for once, I gotta commend you when you finally do something right. You called Richie what he is, a complete idiot.
I didn't call Richie an idiot. Excuse me, I did not call Richie an idiot, and he's not an idiot.
Politely.
No, I didn't call him that. I did not.
You said it politely, that's why...
No, I didn't say it politely. I didn't call Richie an idiot. I talked about this 17-year-old punk, murderer. I called him an idiot, but not Richie. I did not, no.
The next time, get to the back of the bus, Richie calls you, ask him what his ethnicity is. Ask him what...
He's white. I know, Richie. He's white. All right, you're not being relevant. Goodbye. I warned you. Oh, boy. I tell you. Yeah. Associated Press. AP story here. 17-year-old arrested after 2 killed during unrest in Kenosha. A white 17-year-old police admirer, which is a way of saying wannabe groupie, was arrested Wednesday after 2 people were shot to death during a 3rd straight night of protest in Kenosha over the police shooting of a black man, Jacob Blake. Kyle Rittenhouse of Antioch, Illinois, about 15 miles from Kenosha, was taken into custody in Illinois on suspicion of first-degree intentional homicide in the attack Tuesday that was largely captured on cell phone video. The shooting left a 3rd person wounded. And those of you out there that are defending the actions, the chat room on YouTube Live right now is filled with pissed off people defending this animal, this kid. He was arrested by the police and charged with these crimes by law enforcement. I thought you guys were pro-police, pro-law enforcement. I just killed somebody, the gunman carrying a semi-automatic rifle could be heard saying at one point. In the wake of the killings, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers authorized the deployment of 500 members of the National Guard to Kenosha, doubling the number of troops in the city of 100,000 between Milwaukee and Chicago. The governor's office said he's working with other states to bring in additional National Guard and law enforcement officers. There's a 7 p.m. curfew, though protesters ignored it again on Wednesday. Protesters marched past the intersection where 2 people were shot Tuesday night, stopping to gather around the spot where 1 person was shot and pray and lay flowers. And it goes on. The Justice Department is sending more than 200 federal agents from the FBI, the Marshal Service, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. The White House said up to 2,000 National Guard troops would be made available. The dead were identified as a 26-year-old Silver Lake, Wisconsin resident and a 36-year-old from Kenosha. The wounded person, a 36-year-old from Wisconsin, was expected to survive. We were chanting Black Lives Matter at the gas station, and then we heard boom, boom, and I told my friend, that's not fireworks, said 19-year-old protester Devin Scott to the Chicago Tribune. And then this guy with this huge gun runs by us in the middle of the street, and people are yelling, he shot someone, and everyone is trying to fight the guy chasing him, and then he started shooting again. So this story that he was under attack because he had just murdered someone, and they were trying to stop him from shooting someone else, and they were unsuccessful, I guess, because he shot a 2nd person. Scott said he cradled a victim in his arms, and a woman started performing CPR. According to witness accounts and video footage, police let the gunman walk past them and leave the scene with a rifle over his shoulder and his hands in the air as members of the crowd were yelling for him to be arrested because he had shot people. You know, listen, I am a gun owner. I've owned guns since I was 12. My first gun I was given by my father and grandfather when I was 12, a .410 shotgun. I own guns today. Okay? I have taken firearm training classes. I have taken advanced firearm training classes by professionals. And what I have been taught, because I'm not a cop, I'm just a guy. And by the way, I do not have a concealed weapon permit, and I do not carry my weapon outside of my home ever, unless I'm going to the gun range. So I'm not strapped right now. I don't take it to work or walk around with a gun. I don't feel I'm of the opinion, this is something I've talked about many times before. I am of the opinion that in most every instance, the gun gets you in more trouble than if you didn't have it. I know there are stories where people have saved their lives when they're out and about with their concealed weapon and things like this. I understand that. But most cases are like this punk 17-year-old murderer in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and George Zimmerman. Inside the home's a different thing. When this pandemic started, every hurricane season, I get my guns out and make sure everything's cool and that I've got plenty of ammo and everything's clean. And I did it early this year. When the pandemic started, I knew ammo was going to be in short supply. I went up and bought new ammo. I had to wait for ammo for my .38. They didn't have it in stock. They were out of stock. And this was in the first week of the pandemic. And I do what I do every year. I buy ammo. Except I usually do it in hurricane season. I just did it at the beginning of the year. And I buy whatever I need to clean my guns with. Because during hurricane season, if we get a massive storm and the community shut down for weeks, it can get a little hairy. Okay? And I want to be prepared in such an instance. Okay? I do other things too to prepare. I buy food and water, got my generator, and I got gas for I do a lot of things. The gun's just one thing. But I don't take my gun outside the house for personal protection. I'm not a police officer. And the idea that we're going to have some 17-year-old wannabe cop crossing state lines illegally because he's under the age of 18 with a rifle, killing 2 people, shooting one guy so bad, the stories yesterday that his arm was either ripped off or nearly ripped off from the shot. I'm not going to defend that. And those of you that are, really, shame on you, and really think about what you're defending. You're defending vigilantism because you don't like BLM and Antifa. I don't support what's going on in these communities. It's not right, but it's not for 17-year-old kids to take their gun that they're not even old enough to possess, cross state lines, and declare themselves part of some citizens' militia who's out there on some type of citizen patrol. What this kid did made it worse. Not just because the lives were lost and the other person's forever disfigured that survived, but he's escalated things. He's not a cop. I don't even know if he ever would have become a police officer. Would this kid have passed the psychological screenings when he grew up to be a police officer? I would hope not. Now we know he won't because he's, because of what he did. And I'm very surprised. Those of you in the chat room on YouTube Live that are using exclamation marks and everything and typing everything in capital letters because you're pissed off at me, that's cool. This is talk radio. It's okay to disagree and be pissed off. Call me on the air and share with me your thoughts and tell me where I'm wrong. Our number's toll free, 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-465-2631. 1 hour down, 2 to go. It's Thursday, August 27th, 2020. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We'll be back with hour number 2 after this.
0.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Dr. Matez from the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. Have you lost the sensation in your breasts with age or as a result of breast implants? Do you have scars, stretch marks, or the dreaded droop? Great news, we can correct it all with a simple, non-surgical treatment known as the vampire breast lift. This procedure is so quick and simple, you can do it on your lunch break. If those spectacular breast implants aren't so spectacular anymore, or if you wish to rejuvenate your natural breast tissue, soften scars and stretch marks, and regain sensation, the vampire breast lift is for you. Call me at 561-953-5490. That's 561-953-5490, or visit my website at www.hormonetherapybocaratone.com.
This is Steve Kane, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts about why I chose the Gardens of Boca Raton to be my final resting place. I have always been uncomfortable with thoughts of death and dying, but the very first time that I visited the Gardens of Boca Raton, I could feel my apprehensions vanish. Just knowing that I'd be spending eternity with my family in such magnificent surroundings lifted my spirits. The Gardens of Boca Raton is an all-faith, above-ground cemetery with tranquil surroundings, a place where your loved ones can come and visit you time and time again, remembering and celebrating your life. The gardens have caring professionals available to help you in your time of need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pre-need with 0% financing is available and prevents your family from having to deal with these matters at the time of their grief and sorrow. The Gardens of Boca Raton, dedicated to all those who have lived and all those who live today. Let the Gardens take care of your family as they are taking care of my family. Schedule a tour today. Call 877-PLAN-561 or online at thegardens.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
This is Brian Craig. I've been telling you about the great deals and incredible customer service at Friendly Tire on both new tires and used tires. One of our listeners, Antonio, went to Friendly Tire and called to share with us his experience of buying used tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Good morning, you're on the radio.
Hey, yes, Brian, I want to give you a quick testimony about the tire place up in Margate, Friendly Tire. Friendly Tire is everything you said it would be, man. I went up there and got me some used tires, and when I went up there, man, he was very courteous. My whole family's going for that, man. Everything you said it was going to be, man. I appreciate you for that, man. And Mike's breakdown, man.
Well, what's your name?
Antonio.
All right, Antonio. Hey, I'm glad we could save you and your family lots of money on tires at Friendly Tire.
Oh, no doubt, man. Thanks so much, man.
Do what Antonio did. Stop into Friendly Tire and find incredible deals on both new and used tires. Give Friendly Mike a call right now. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. And Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll-free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE-1. And now, here's Steve Kane.
All right. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, 5 minutes after 7 o'clock in the morning. It's Thursday, August 27th, 2020, and it's so interesting how topics in radio go, talk radio go, because we're talking about something that I didn't think we'd be talking about. And I'm glad we are, because I think this is a great opportunity to get in check some of our out-of-control angry conservatives in the audience. And what I was planning on talking about was this incredible moment where this young man at the convention last night, who was paralyzed from the waist down, got up and stood up, even though he's paralyzed, to show respect for this country, our anthem, and our flag. That's what that was all about. And what we're talking about is this 17-year-old murderer, Kyle Rittenhouse, who traveled illegally across state lines with a gun that he was in possession of illegally, murdered 2 people and shot another. And I I am really shocked. I'm going to go through some of the comments here on YouTube because these people are too angry and cowardly to call. Dan just wrote, "Is Brian a profiler?" Yes, I am of sorts. Brian has repeated the miner's name several times. It's being reported in every news source in the world. Here's one person, Patrick, wrote, "They chased him and smacked his head with a skateboard, self-defense and fear of his life." He had was that an AR-15? He wasn't, my goodness. What was he doing out there with an AR-15? I'd mentioned earlier, and I didn't get to the point of this part, I've taken lots of firearm training. Lots of it. Upper level self-defense training. And everyone has always told me the same thing in every course, no matter how good or it was or not. Some courses are better than others. If you are in a situation out in public with your concealed weapon, this was not a concealed weapon, but as concealed weapon permit holder, what are you to do? What is your first reaction? What are you supposed to do if you've got good sense? You know what you do? You get the hell out of there. If you're in a parking lot and someone's coming towards you and they're gonna rob you and they're threatening you, if you can, get in your car and get out of there. The last thing you want to do is take out that gun. And I'm not talking about taking it out you take it out, you may have to use it, but the last thing you want to do is take out your gun. You want to get out of there. Call the police and let them come and handle it. It's like the Eddie Eagle program in a way, right? What does a kid do when they see a gun? Right? Don't touch, get away, tell an adult. And as a gun owner, the last thing you want to do is have to use your weapon. You don't even want to show it. The weapon, more often than not, will escalate things and get you in more trouble. It's one of the problems police have is they have guns. Okay? Guns always have the possibility of escalating. I'm pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment, and a lifetime gun owner. Okay? I'm not a member of the NRA or any of these organizations, but I'm as pro-gun as it gets. But I'm not going to support a lunatic punk kid who's a wannabe cop walking around in Crocs with black socks up to his knees, taking pictures with guns, and doing what he did. I'm sorry. You're on the radio. Good morning.
This is Mike. You're right.
Hold on, Mike. You're in Louisiana. What's the weather like in Louisiana right now?
Well, right now it's raining.
Well, how far are you from the Gulf?
Oh, I'm 2 hours in.
Oh, so you're pretty far in.
And really, it didn't come in. If it would have came in near New Orleans, if it would have came in closer to New Orleans, I'd be getting it hit. Well,
I'm glad you're 2 hours inland. You're doing okay. Here's somebody in the chat, Misty. Brian is wrong. He's assuming a bunch of S that has not been confirmed. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, here's somebody else. Robert, 10-1 odds he's vindicated. I hope not. What are your thoughts on Punk wearing punk that murdered 2 people and disfigured another?
You're right. He shouldn't have had the gun. You're right. But that wasn't the only mistake that was made. Remember, the cops let him go at first. He was looking to give up, and they've got PTSD because of this. So I mean, and the guy, in the heat of battle, yeah, I get what you're saying about the cops and stuff. In the heat of battle, they were overwhelmed, because logical exam, probably not.
I would hope not. There's a lot of wannabe cops. This kid is a young Zimmerman, young George Zimmerman.
Right, and one thing before I let you go with the convention, this first lady, makes anything she wears
Steve
look
Kane Show.
very, very good. Yeah, she's a model,
Yeah.
but she makes everything she looks. I mean, she make.
Listen, let me tell you about that. Yeah, Melania looked fine. You know, I remember when she was in Egypt and they were making fun of her clothes in Egypt, and she was wearing designer Italian fashions. You know, Melania could go up there in a garbage bag and look hot.
And that's the thing. And think about this. He doesn't marry ugly people. Does Donald Trump? Before she had her surgery, his first.
You know, it was just, you know, we all have a yeah.
And they just don't get it. These guys who say, "Oh, she looks horrible in whatever she wears. She makes everything look horrible." First off, that wasn't her job before. That's what they don't understand. These guys are, oh, she's ugly.
Yeah. All right, Mike. Let me take some other calls. Thanks for the call. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian. This is Hank from Hollywood. How you doing?
All right, Hank.
I don't know much about what's going on with the kid with the crossing of the state lines, but I agree with what you're saying. That it's a crime for the young kid to cross state lines, or anybody for that matter to do that. I agree 100% with everything that you've said, even though I don't know all the facts. But the problem I have is this. When Liberal Al of Coral Springs calls and condemns the guy that kicked the guy to sleep in Oregon, then I'll condemn this kid.
You mean, yeah.
Criminal, whether it's a rich white or a rich black liberal or a poor white liberal or a poor...
Aren't all of these people our people? They're American people.
I would say that the anarchists and the Antifa are not Americans.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would argue, that they're not Americans, because they don't believe in America. They don't believe in my right to speak my mind.
Yeah.
I agree with them 100%. So they're not American.
Mm-hmm.
Side. Then I'll condemn, quote unquote, our side, even though I'm just using quotes.
Okay. All right. Appreciate the call. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You know, this kid, although he did the wrong thing, and I agree with you on that, but he's emblematic of the population just being fed up with this anarchy and these people that are anti-American and are shouting death to America. On top of that, it's like I heard on the news yesterday, it's not like they're people that, you know, that are over there in Iran wishing death to America. They're doing it right here. These are the people that, you know, that...
I don't think, none of us disagree that these professional anarchists are criminals. They should be rounded up, the ones that have been attacking federal buildings, private businesses, and doing all this nonsense, okay? There's no doubt about it. The controversy is over this 17-year-old kid who murdered 2 people and shot another's arm off. You know, what are your thoughts on him?
Well, that's what I just said. I said, you know, I don't agree with the kid doing what he did, but it's not far-fetched that this kid is fed up, and as am I. Now,
How can a 17-year-old kid be fed up? I mean, to me, you know, a 17-year-old who has a rifle like that, it looked like it may be an AR-15. I'm not sure though. In the one picture I saw, it was a big rifle. I'll tell you that. In the cell phone video I saw, a kid like that is looking for an excuse to use the weapon. Let's be honest. Come on.
Get him out of it then.
Well, he's the one who shot 2 people dead.
Well, yeah, that's true. But the thing is, I'll tell you right now. If the chaos came over here to Coral Springs, you know, and
yeah, but this didn't come to his town. He lived in another state, and a 17-year-old cannot legally possess a rifle.
This is the first thing I said. This kid, what he did was wrong, but don't.
No buts. You know, what's with the but? I don't understand the but.
The but being that people are fed up. That's the but.
Let me ask you this. This Rittenhouse kid, okay, that I'm talking about today. Was he fed up, or just some punk wannabe cop who wanted to go play police officer like George Zimmerman?
I agree with that. I said that the kid was wrong. But make no mistake about it, this anarchy's got to end. We got to put this thing to an end. Donald Trump has got to put this to an end. Period.
It'll be, yeah, I agree. All right, appreciate the call. Let's take a break. 19 minutes after 7. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE 1-888-465-2631. We'll take a break and be back. Don't go anywhere.
President Trump here. Join Steve Kane and Brian Craig.
Oh, he's the one who shot
Trump 2020 Victory Cruise on board the Celebrity Edge. The cruise will be to celebrate my re-election. Don't be a loser, be a winner, just like me. And join Steve Kane and Brian Craig on the Steve Kane Trump 2020 Victory Cruise.
Thank you, Mr. President. Join Steve Kane and me, Brian Craig, celebrating the victory of President
Steve Kane
Trump
Show.
as we sail December 6th out of Fort Lauderdale on a 7-day Trump 2020 Victory Cruise. First stop, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Second stop, Tortola, British Virgin Islands. And then St. Martin. Call in at Cruise and Travel Depot, 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. And join us celebrating the re-election of President Trump. 561-244-5779. You've heard Gupta's Brighton Dental. Richie the bus driver called Steve Kane on the air and told him about his experience at Brighton Dental.
Good morning. I have to talk about Brighton Dental because your sponsor is a miracle worker. I broke my tooth. I fractured it and went backwards in my mouth.
Oh my God.
front top tooth. I put it back into the socket. It felt like it was falling out. I had pain. I couldn't even eat spaghetti. And I was going to a wedding in New York 2 days later. And I said, what am I going to do? You know? And the dentist here wanted to charge me $120 just to look at it and to tell me he couldn't do anything. I went to Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. I traveled 9 miles. I would do it again in a heartbeat each way. Okay? The man sat and worked on my tooth for 2 hours. Put a pen in it. Put it back in place. I could eat anything I want. He said it was temporary. He did such a great job. It feels like permanent. I have no pain. I can eat anything.
Yeah, what you just called?
And the fact of the matter, this is what really was unbelievable. I was getting on the bus to go to the reception, okay? In New York City. He knew I was in New York. The phone rings. Who do you think's on the line? Dr. Gupta. Right?
No, it's only it's 20 after. I mean, 7. What do you want to do?
The guy is unbelievably wonderful. I mean,
I don't hear you.
thank you so much. You've been able to eat.
I'm not hearing you. You got it turned on and everything? I'm not hearing you on the Q speaker. I can hear you on the phone, but I don't hear you coming through the speaker on the mic. Do you have it else hooked up? Okay, I'll find out in a minute. Okay. Okay, alright. Okay, alright, bye.
I just wanted them to know if you need a dentist, and the guy is so good at what he does, he's so gentle, and I mean, I don't like dentists. This guy is just a top shelf, and I'm going down to him to get it permanently put in, but right now, I don't have any pain. I can eat anything I want.
Take Richie the bus driver's advice and come see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. Call 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633. Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Seeing if I got Steve. Are you back there? I can't tell. I got your mic hot if you're back. Okay, and the answer would be no. I'll call you during the break, Steve, if you're out there listening. I'm looking at... I'm talking about this 17-year-old animal. This Kyle Rittenhouse, who shot 2 people dead, blew the arm off another person. And this is the local newspaper in the town, KenoshaNews.com. Antioch teen taken into custody for shooting deaths in Kenosha. And they've got a photograph of Kyle Rittenhouse on the street. He's wearing jeans, kind of like a green camo shirt, t-shirt, hat on backwards, and a big old rifle that I think is an AR-15. I can't swear to that. And in front of him is a guy that I don't know who the hell he is, but this guy in front of him, he's dressed like some wannabe soldier. He's wearing some type of vest. I don't know if it's a flak vest. The guy in front of him, he's got an AR-15. He's got some paramilitary clothing on. It looks like he's even got a damn canteen, like he's on some march. It looks as if Kyle Rittenhouse is yelling something. 17-year-old Antioch teen is in custody in Lake County, expected to be charged for the shooting that left two men dead and a third injured. Kenosha Police Chief Daniel Miskinis confirmed that a 17-year-old had been arrested, did not name him or release information, although it's being widely reported. The shooting and the movements of the teen before and after were captured on at least half a dozen videos that were shared widely on social media. Last night, a 17-year-old individual from Antioch, Illinois, was involved in the use of firearms to resolve whatever conflict was in place. The result of it, 2 people dead, says the chief. You know, there were 2 deaths, 3 shooting incidents, and 2 deaths night before last in Kenosha. They were all done by this punk. At an afternoon press conference, the protest and the riots in the city, the chief said he would not give any details. The police chief said a 26-year-old and 36-year-old man were killed. And I'm really shocked at so many of our conservatives in the chat room, who I'm calling cowards because some of them have called in, but most of them have not. I'm calling them cowards because of that. I'm sorry. Are taking the side of this. You can't become a vigilante. Now, if somebody comes into your neighborhood and your home, or they come and threaten your life, and you own a gun legally, you have a right, if your life is threatened, to defend yourself. That's not what this kid did. Got a gun that he's not old enough to own legally, breaking the law, crossed state lines, broke another law, and then went there and decided he was law enforcement. I'm not going to defend that. I'm not going to be sympathetic to it. And I'll tell you, this kid was brainwashed. You know, a lot of these activists, a lot of them are brainwashed to hate cops, to hate authority, to hate Trump. You know, I saw some of these NBA babies paid millions of dollars, not going to play. I'd fire them all. There's lots of other guys that want to go out there and play, and they don't gripe. All right? You know? But I've seen some of them attack Trump over these. What does Trump have to do with these shootings? You know, you look at this Blake incident. We're getting more and more details. He did have a knife, so he had a deadly weapon. He resisted police officers. He fought police officers. He escaped from police officers. He went in his car, opened it up, got inside as if he was reaching for something. He was threatening those officers. The officers not only felt threatened, they were threatened by him. Okay? Can't have people running the streets deciding they're cops and they're going to enforce things. Are you kidding me? That's my opinion. You know, this kid last night who's running for Congress, Madison Cawthorn. What is he, 24 years old? He's an amazing young man. Amazing young man. And then when he stood up last night, a little faith healing by Trump at the convention last night, that was such a statement on these NBA babies and these NFL babies. Did you see this one guy on ESPN that walked off on a live broadcast? A lot of people want to be commentators on ESPN. Fire him. You know, if he had some moral objection, he didn't have to do it on the air and take his mic off. He could have done it before the show, trying to make a statement. You know? in these incidents these tragic incidents that are getting high-profile news coverage, the system of justice is working in each and every one of them. People are being arrested, charged. There's investigations going on. Back in the day when there was no justice in these instances, there were no arrests, no investigations. They were immediately ruled okay. See, the reason that the Zimmerman Trayvon Martin incident exploded is because Zimmerman killed a 17-year-old kid and he was allowed to go home that night. And, it was just boom, over. And I saw conservatives jump on the bandwagon and support Zimmerman, some still even today. Rittenhouse here, Kyle Rittenhouse in Wisconsin, another George Zimmerman. I'm sorry. And I think most people that are gun owners would agree with me that you don't get in your car and cross state lines and all of a sudden declare yourself law enforcement like this kid did. All right, let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. I'm going to get into some other issues when we get back from the bottom of the hour break. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, on the radio since 1977. Our number's toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE 1, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
This is Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry's did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel, and one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And Barry says every 3 years at least you got to. I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. So I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, most people just blow you off, right? Almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on, and he answered. He was very patient. I was quite a while with him, and talked about a lot of things, and this and that. But I wanted to say, character, integrity. These are the most important things with sponsors, and all of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them. They all have that you can trust them, and you're getting a fair shake.
Do what Ray did. Call attorney Barry Siegel right now. Toll free 1-855-FLA-3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA-3782. Tell them Steve sent you.
It's hurricane season again. This year, forecasters predict as many as 10 hurricanes. Are you prepared if a hurricane strikes? Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware is your hurricane preparation location. You don't want to go through hurricane season without a generator. Ace carry generators for all size homes at prices to fit every budget. Once a hurricane is on television, generators are the first thing to sell out. But you will have the security of knowing you will not be without electricity if a hurricane hits. With your generator from Ace, you will have the security for every hurricane season to come. Ace also have an incredible selection of chainsaws to cut away the fallen debris. Ace Hardware Deerfield is just south of Hillsboro on the west side of US 1. Beach Ace Hardware is located at 232 Commercial Boulevard in Lauderdale by the Sea. Ace Hardware Deerfield and Beach Ace Hardware, your first stop for hurricane prep. And make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on
All right, 32 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. You're connected back there, Steve, just so you know. I can hear you clear as a bell. Clear as a bell.
I wanted to ask you a question to switch the focus for a minute, because there's so many things to talk about. It's difficult to know where to begin. Masks. Did you see a single mask last night in the Republican?
No, but I didn't see that many people there last night. They were kind of far away. The speeches and everything, people were pretty distant.
And when
No, I was in bed at the end because I got it. Oh, I didn't see that. No, because I had to get up in the morning to be here so early. I didn't see the very end. I was asleep by then. Good.
Is because if you don't see a single mask, it was a policy, not an accident. They made a decision. Donald Trump made, and I'm sure he was the one who made the decision, not to include the image of a mask in the entire presentation. And I have fear that that was a big mistake, because this thing has been an unqualified success up till this point.
Steve Kane Show.
I just wanted to know how you felt about it.
Oh, hold on. Well, I did not see it because I was in bed by the end, so I'm just going on what you're telling me, and I haven't seen it. No, I take your word, but seeing is different. I'd like to. I think that's okay. I imagine because the entire government of the United States leadership was there, the president and the vice president. Okay. And if either of them were to fall ill, Nancy Pelosi is next in the line of succession and would become president. And I promise you, President Trump did not take any risk that would result in her becoming the president if either he or Pence became ill. So I am sure that everything was fine last night. I am sure that everything was fine last night based on that.
All right, let me give you an alternate point of view to let you comment on it. This thing, as I said at the end of the first night, in my opinion, my humble opinion, is over. I mean, I think that clearly the Republicans have knocked the ball out of the ballpark. The Democrats are demoralized and in big trouble because they have a candidate who's incapable
You're next,
of
Rick,
leaving
so hold
his
on.
house and complaining. And I would say the odds at the end of the first night, the odds of Trump winning the nomination.
In the election. The election, you mean? Yeah.
We're almost 100%.
No doubt.
In the bag. That's how I saw it. And you and I talked and compared notes, and you saw it the same.
No doubt.
When he made a decision, which he did, because it was 100% no mask, when he made a decision that they would leave masks out of this, they took a proposition that was 100% sure that he was going to win the election, and they put an element of, they took it out of their control. For example, now, we don't know what's going to happen in the next week or
Yeah.
but we can't control it either. The beautiful thing about that convention is everything was beautifully controlled.
No, Trump is brilliant. What Trump did last night was brilliant. Well, let me tell you what I mean. Okay. Yeah, of course.
The fact is, we don't have knowing. We brought in an element of lack of control when he made that decision about the masks, because we don't know. We can't control what's going to happen.
All right, now, before I respond, if you're on hold, stand by. We're going to go to the phones in a moment. But we're going to, Steve and I'll talk about this for a moment or two, then we'll go to the calls. You're not talking about an actual risk. You're talking about like a visual PR narrative that came out of it. Because obviously he didn't take a risk.
I'm talking about taking a situation where we're in control and putting us out of control.
Okay, what Trump did, okay. Again, what you're telling me happened last night, I didn't see it, but I believe you, okay? What Trump did is brilliant, because now what's going to happen is a bunch of people are going to be talking like you are all day of the hysterics of the mask. So what the media are going to do is increase by 5 to 10 times the people watching the victory celebration tonight of the president, which I'm sure is a grand finale planned out of the curiosity as to whether or not they're wearing masks or not. So I think PR-wise, it was a brilliant move. It makes a lot of sense.
It is not a brilliant move if, in fact, a whole bunch of people like... Where was the first... they tried having a regular...
Tulsa. Yeah.
What happens if the aftermath is like Tulsa, where, say, let's just say 25 people test positive? How brilliant a move is it then? What?
Oh, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think anyone's going to get sick from there.
Are you kidding? You don't.
Oh no, it'd be negative press. It'd be negative press. Yeah.
But it's not a question of you don't think it's going to happen. You don't know.
Well, I'm not a psychic.
Oh. No, but so why put?
I don't believe he created a. I don't agree that he put a bad situation in place. I don't believe he did.
If people start coming down and testing positive.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think everybody was tested. No. I don't. Well, I have to be on the air at 6, Steve. I can't stay up till midnight.
That after checking with the Trump people, the people closest to the president were tested. They watched that, but not everybody was tested.
Well, no. I promise you that everyone at least was tested for their temperature to see if they had symptoms. They didn't let people in there without taking their temperature. They take your temperature at any group setting anywhere.
I think that's enough to.
Yeah. Oh no, there are people. Yeah.
You're wrong.
Okay. All right. I think a lot of you're going to get upset with me about this. Okay, you're going to get upset about what I'm about to say. I think you want to feel bad about the election. I think you want to have uncertainty and anxiety, and I think you're grabbing onto something to worry about. Believe me, President Trump took zero risks last night. Zero. I mean, going out in public is a risk in its own. All right, listen. Okay.
On my side.
Well, that's fine. People are pretty pissed at me already today. I mean, so that's fine with me. All right, let me give out the number, then we'll go to the phones. 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's Kane with a K, like in Kamala, Kane, and the number 1. 888-465-2631. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Yeah, hey guys. I'll just switch the subject a little. What do you think, Steve and Brian, what do you think the NBA players accomplished?
Further alienating the American people against these spoiled babies that are overpaid for playing child games. That's about it. Nothing. I'll tell you one thing. That guy that quit on ESPN on the air, I'd fire him in a heartbeat. Be gone.
Fire him because they're afraid of him.
Yeah.
And the players, they're not going to fire him. He wouldn't have done it if he thought he was going to get fired.
Oh, they can't fire him now. Yeah. I think what they did is outrageous. You know, listen. They walked off because of this Blake incident in Wisconsin, and now it's being confirmed that he was armed with a deadly weapon, a knife. On top of the fact that he fought police officers, resisted and escaped, etc., etc. You know, so I saw LeBron James over the weekend. I felt bad for him. He's not a very smart guy. These are college. Didn't he go to college? He was sitting in a group. You may have seen this on TV, and he had in his hand a copy of the autobiography of Malcolm X. And he was taking questions from reporters, and a reporter asked him what his biggest takeaway from the book was. And he didn't have an answer. I mean, he didn't, because he hadn't read the book. You know what I mean? And he looked so stupid. I felt bad. I really felt bad for him, LeBron James. It was like, oh my goodness, you know. All right, caller. Thanks so much. Let's take some other callers. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning. It's Joe from Coral Springs. I get a side with you on this.
Hey, Joe.
I think Steve's a little off. He sounds a little negative after that positive show of the convention last night.
Well, what about the point I made? Caller, what about the...
He said you're wrong.
Disagree with what I said. No, I want to know...
I disagree with what you said, yeah. I think, people were probably checked.
Why?
Whether it's temperature readings and everything else, but...
They weren't.
Spaced out.
Wait, I don't agree with that. We don't know that they didn't have their temperatures checked, Steve. We don't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about temperatures, but there was no extensive checking.
I wasn't there at the convention to say what was done or what wasn't done, but I still think.
Now, Steve, you get mad. Let me tell you, I did something yesterday. I've gone to Disney World several times since it's reopened, and yesterday on the way home, just to see what was going on. Yesterday, I went to the Seminole Indian Casino in Coconut Creek just to see what it looked like in there. With all this social distancing stuff. And
are you asking me if it is possible that for once for Trump to make a decision that's a wrong decision? Much agree that most of the time he's right on the money.
Believe me, he's aware that Pelosi would be cut.
I'm saying it was a bad decision.
Well,
talking about blowing the race.
Listen, the cable news. Steve, listen. You had it. Maybe it depends on the situation. If it was directly related to the event, Steve, the mainstream media, including the Fox News channel, hate Trump. They're going to promote anything negative, and sometimes you fall victim to their poison.
So why give them material?
They're going to attack Trump for whatever he does. They're going to attack him for whatever he does or says. He can do no right by these people.
You have to make decisions that it doesn't mean you're going to make decisions that increase their chances of being successful.
I saw the nominating process. I watched the nominating process that was in North Carolina on the first day. Mike Lindell from My Pillow was there with the Minnesota delegation. They weren't wearing masks in there. Some of them had them around their neck. I didn't hear anybody well, this was on Monday afternoon at the start of the convention. I haven't heard anybody criticize that. Listen, this convention, yeah.
Wait till today if anybody comes down with this thing. The only way I could be wrong, and there is a scenario which I could be wrong, if Trump, because he obviously has more information than anybody else, knows that they're getting ready to announce a cure tomorrow, then maybe what I'm saying would...
Don't assume that what you're hearing about last night and testing and things is 100% the truth at this point. Until I hear McEnany or Trump tweet about it, White House sources mean nothing to me, because all these reporters claim to have White House sources. All right, you got to go, sir. You're disagreeing with Steve, so it's time to say goodbye. Let's take another one. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm calling back because I agree with Brian.
That's 2 in a row, Steve.
Steve, I live in Indian River.
Well, tell me which.
Listen, I have 5 masks in my bag. I've used it never, except to go to public. People here don't wear masks. This is in certain areas. I was in Broward County, man. It's like zombie land down there.
Oh yeah, I live in Palm Beach County. I jumped the border to Broward County, and it's like a plague town in Broward.
Hold on, Richie is talking about something different. He's talking about, he thinks that what he's saying has to do with his opinion on masks. I'm not talking about masks. I'm talking about strategy here. I'm talking about giving the Democrats an opening to recoup some of what they've lost. I'm talking about putting the ball...
Yeah, and we don't think he's done that. Hey, Richie, does Steve want to feel bad about the election, in your opinion, as a listener?
You're changing the subject.
Oh, Richie hung up. He's gone. All right, listen, we got a break. It's 49 minutes after the hour. We'll be right back.
FM 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
This is Dr. Matez from the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. Have you lost the sensation in your breast with age or as a result of breast implants? Do you have scars, stretch marks, or the dreaded droop? Great news, we can correct it all with a simple, non-surgical treatment known as the vampire breast lift. This procedure is so quick and simple, you can do it on your lunch break. If those spectacular breast implants aren't so spectacular anymore, or if you wish to rejuvenate your natural breast tissue, soften scars and stretch marks, and regain sensation, the vampire breast lift is for you. Call me at 561-953-5490. That's 561-953-5490, or visit my website at www.hormonetherapybocaratone.com.
If you suffer from excruciating back pain or sciatica, pay careful attention to what I'm about to tell you. According to a study in the medical journal Spine, back surgeries to alleviate back pain frequently backfire, leaving the patient in more pain than before they had the surgery. A second study from the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine provides clear evidence that 74% of surgeries for back pain fail. But there is an end to your suffering. There's a solution to your problem waiting for you with Dr. Troy Lemaski. Dr. Troy Lemaski is my personal chiropractor, and if the name sounds familiar, it should. He's the brother of Dr. Janae Lemaski. Dr. Troy specializes in the elimination of back pain, sciatica, joint pain. He does it quickly, easily, and without surgery or pain medication. While he can help you with your back and neck pain, Dr. Troy also provides
I don't know. The portions are massive over there. Listen, Wings Plus, they're located about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample Road. And when you're in there, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Radio Show. Okay, so you think Trump blew the convention last night?
I didn't say that. I said he introduced an element of risk. And if 5 people come down, test positive that were there last night, you're going to find that's what every Democrat is going to talk about for the next week. And it took us from being in literally a situation where we couldn't lose to now we're dependent upon fate as to how it works out. Look, if nobody comes down with it, we will have gotten away with it. But to introduce the element of doubt when you don't have to, when you've got the thing won, I think is a mistake. Is there any question in your mind with the Democrat? Let's just say, hypothetical, 5 people come down with the COVID thing that were there last night. You don't think that's going to be what every Democrat's going to be focusing?
Yes.
Why would we give them that? Why would we put?
Because it's not going to happen. I'll tell you. Herman Cain died recently. Who, by the way, we had an appearance with at Wings Plus. Remember, Herman Cain died from the corona, and they were trying to blame the Tulsa rally on it. Notice how that disappeared. They must have determined he did not get it there.
So rally was a disaster for Trump. I mean, it happened
not because of the corona. It's because there was a Democrat in charge of crowd control, and they stopped people from going in. So there was an empty house. It wasn't a disaster because of COVID.
As I remember, there were people that went from, they never get negative and positive straight, but whose testing changed as a result of. There
were a lot of stories of people that tested positive after the rally that did not get it there. And so, there was false reporting early on, and later it was found that they were symptomatic too long after. The disaster was the Democrat who stopped people from getting into the rally. We had a small crowd size inside that some Democrats sabotaged it, and the incompetence of the campaign manager that Trump fired. But all right, let's take some more calls. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Yeah, I think you're both right. Steve's right strategically. I think if you've already won, you don't need to keep talking. And secondly, you don't ask the question you don't know the answer to. Brian, though, I think is right.
Exactly.
for. It's not going to have any effect, because no matter what Trump does, whether he's right, whether he's wrong, the Democrats are going to criticize him with lies.
For example, Sunday night the president came out with this new treatment, and what do? They go out there and they trash the new treatment, and immediately.
Right. So, and this comes up even with bringing troops or bringing the federal forces into these towns and everything. People have said, well, then they're going to criticize him for doing this and that. It doesn't matter. They're going to criticize him if he does something, if he doesn't something, like you said many times. If he found a cure for cancer, they would find a way to criticize that. So I don't know that it really matters.
Yeah, but you're giving him material that he could use to make him. You're giving him material that gives him a chance to make the Democratic position more credible, and you don't want to do that.
Well, I agree with you strategically, but as a practical matter, they're going to make it up anyway. We've heard it time and time again. He's a racist. He's a sexist. He's a homophobe. He's a
okay.
Well, shocking. We haven't had anyone totally agree with you. This is the closest we've come. Everyone's agreeing with me this morning. Well, if you'd like to call in, I just went through the lines at 1-888-GO-CANE-1 if you want to comment on this. The Republican voters are fed up and tired of masks and want to move on from the masks. And that's one of the reasons you're seeing fewer masks, is because at the convention, because Republicans are sick of it, and Trump knows it. So he's sending an anti-mask message to the base.
I think that's true. Obviously, it was calculated. I mean, Donald Trump doesn't do things like that without thinking about it first, but I think he came to the wrong conclusion.
Yeah. All right.
It would have given him some cover, but now if there is a small outbreak, there's no place to hide.
Okay. Well, and another, just if anyone likes to call in about this, please do. 1-888-GO-CANE-1. I saw a story this morning I was very excited about, that the Justice Department is getting information on the nursing home situation in New York. It looks like they're really there's Fredo's brother, the governor of New York, is his hopes of being president are over. Yeah. All right. Let's take some calls. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Yeah, this will put this to rest right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to put it to rest. We got an hour and 3 minutes to go. Yeah.
Who said that they did not test the people in that thing? Where did you hear
Steve Kane
that
Show.
exactly?
Steve Kane
Brett
Show.
Baer, right at the end, and there was a lot of. It was a topic. Hold on one second. You asked me a question. Let me answer it. It was the topic of conversation at the very end of the broadcast, right around the time when Trump came down into the audience. They were trying to get the information from the Trump campaign as to whether this was a conscious policy or not, and they did, and they found out that there were people there that were not tested.
Because yesterday,
Did you see the end of the show? Did you see the end of the show?
I did not.
Well, hold on a second. You asked a good question, caller. So it was Brett Baer. So where has the president or Kellyanne Conway or McEnany confirmed this?
And Brett Baer. When this is at the very end of the
Trump hater Brett Baer.
Brett Baer. They were. You want to?
I'm waiting. Yeah.
All right. The Brett Baer and the people at Fox made a special issue of trying to find that out, and the last thing they did before they went off the air was to announce that she consulted with the Trump people, and everybody that was up there was not.
But they gave no name.
Wants to call in if they think my position doesn't coincide with their.
I believe they said that, but until I hear McEnany or Trump say it, I'm not going to accept that. What about you, caller?
Day before, though, they had the same question come up with that stupid panelist, and then Brett Baer said no. Everybody is tested that goes into that room with immediate test.
That was the day before.
Well, why would they not?
That was the day before. That was not last night.
That makes no sense. So they would not do it the day.
Because I think they made a bad decision.
No.
Or maybe they got bad info on Fox. Maybe Fox News is wrong.
Every single time.
Listen, we got a break. We've got only one opening on the board where I let go with that very good caller there. If you're on hold, stand by. We will go to the phones immediately after the break. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Steve, of course, here. My name's Brian. We'll be back with a third and final hour after this.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
I'm Dr. Janae Lomaski. I'm a licensed
Steve Kane
clinical
Show.
psychologist. 2020 has been
Hold
a
on.
year of
Steve Kane Show.
coronavirus. So many of us have been locked in our
Hold on.
homes for long periods of time.
Steve Kane
This
Show.
can bring on severe depression,
Yeah, hold on.
anxiety,
Hold on.
and panic.
Steve
Other
Kane Show.
worries such as job security, money, and health,
Steve Kane Show.
as well as families unable to see
Yeah, hold on.
one
You'll be up
another.
after the break.
These are all significant in affecting our mental health. If you are experiencing these difficulties, give me a call at 561-777-2021. That's 561-777-2021. Medicare and TRICARE accepted. I'm available telehealth as well as in-office appointments. Give me a call at 561-777-2021.
Brian Craig here. When it comes to auto repair, you want a garage that you can trust. Someone that will only do work on your car when your car needs work. Introducing Champagne Automotive in Boca Raton, the latest sponsor of the Steve Kane.
Why don't I have someone who takes the calls? Because I don't. If you have someone that takes the calls, they start screening, and I don't like to do that. I like the calls to be fresh. I don't even talk to these people. I just want to make sure someone's on the line. It makes the calls more interesting if there's no screening of the calls, George. That's why I don't have somebody. There's a board up down the hallway in another studio. We could have them answer the calls if we wanted to, but we don't do that.
Old school, that's really the term that really describes it.
But let me tell you, the guy I had gone to previously won $800. Well, you need
Yeah, what happens when you have someone screening calls, callers get off their chest what they want to say. And when they get on the air, it's not the same. And then you start getting quality control by the call screener deciding who gets on, who doesn't get on. They start doing their own talk show. It's much better to do it cold.
This is our new sponsor. We have wanted for a long time to have an auto repair shop. When it comes to auto repair, that is the most difficult category for us to find as an advertiser, because most are like this guy you were dealing with the other day over in Tamarack, they're crooks. And we found Champagne Automotive. Ed, who's the owner, is a listener of the program. They come very, very highly recommended. So I appreciate you calling in and telling us the good story. Now, Champagne Automotive, they're in Boca off Spanish River Boulevard.
Steve Kane Show.
West of Dixie Highway. The number is 561-245.
Okay, all right. I didn't miss anything. That's Richie the bus driver's third call. He's like, you missed a big story. I didn't miss anything. Just we can't talk about everything.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to
Oh, I'm going to put my, you can watch it after the show. I'm going to post my casino trip video to Twitter in a minute here.
Cocaine 1. That's 1-888-COCAINE 1. And now, here's Steve Kane.
All right. Third hour. I'm Brian. Steve Kane here. Can we just go right to the phone, Steve? All right. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name's Fred. First time caller.
Hey, Fred. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. I've looked at you guys for a while. I'm a former radio guy, 25 years, blah, 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 who cares? But I got a couple thoughts. And I am walking, so there's a little bit of outside noise. This morning I walked inside a Publix. I walked inside a 7-Eleven and inside a McDonald's. And
I've passed about 10, 15 people walking, very few with masks on. If I come down with the COVID, who knows where it came from? It could have come from any of those locations or any of those people I passed. And that's part of the problem with the Tulsa thing in Sturgis. You don't know if a lot of those people actually got it at Tulsa or got it at Sturgis, or they got it on the way there. And I think that's something that, never gets factored in because they always want to steal the headline, oh, COVID, Tulsa. And you can't always...
Well, okay, well, wait. But wait. You bring up a good point. Let's examine it. If somebody, let's just say there were people that were there last night that today start to, and over the next 2 or 3 days start to test positive. We don't know, you're right, we don't know where they got it, but what we do know is that when the Democrats find out about it, the Democrats are going to use it as a propaganda tool to discredit Trump big time. And I don't think it's worth taking the chance.
Steve Kane Show.
I do concede that point in your favor.
Hey.
That, yeah, they will spin everything in their direction.
Steve, listen, you're talking about a PR thing as opposed to being real. One thing I look at here in Florida, and one of our callers brought this up about 2 months ago, Publix, okay? The baggers at Publix come in contact with more random people than anyone else because it's the #1 grocery chain in Florida, right? And I've heard no outbreaks among them. I don't think it's that easy to pick up. It's mostly picked up through intimate contact. We're learning. Everybody I know personally that's got it, they got it from their spouse or they gave it to their spouse. I mean, it's an STD more than anything else, and the risk of getting it in a situation like we saw last night are slim. Hey caller, by the way, you said you worked in you worked in radio. What did you do? Where'd you work? I'm just curious.
Brand manager, Doc, and all that kind of stuff. I worked in Alabama.
Oh, Alabama, program director. Okay, all right, good. Just curious. Oh, okay, just curious. All right, hey, listen, welcome to the show, and thanks for calling. Okay. Well, we appreciate you. That's right. All right, the phones are cooking, so people with strong opinions. All right, you're on the radio.
Hi there, Louise from Boca Raton. I agree completely with Steve.
All right, next caller, please. No, I'm kidding.
Hello?
Go ahead.
I was kidding, Louise.
Thought process.
I agree. Why give food for thought? What was the point in mentioning such a thing?
Well, there is a point. There is a point. Louise, there is a point. If, in fact, no one comes down with it, and the Democrats don't pick up any additional material to come back at us, it can, in hindsight, it could work in our favor, but that's an unknown question out of our control.
Exactly, but why mention it? Why mention it? It was stupid.
Why take the chance? Right.
Exactly. I agree with
Why
you.
take the chance?
When the First Lady talked the other night in the Rose Garden, there was a crowd there, and it was a similar situation. I didn't hear any discussion other than they were tested, as the previous caller said. So I do not accept that those people were not tested last night. I don't care what Brett Baer said.
Of course, you were in bed sleeping when they...
Well, I have to get up at 3 a.m. to be here. I can't stay up till midnight. Okay. Well...
Actually, they didn't bring it up. They did it by their actions. You could see there was not... I mean, if there'd been a smattering of masks, it could have been random. But it wasn't a smattering of masks. I might have missed something. There might have been somebody wearing a mask that I didn't see.
No, it wasn't the masks. He mentioned that a lot of these people were not tested.
That's correct, because they reset this whole transaction we're talking about happened at the very end, right before they switched to hurricane coverage.
Exactly.
Okay, so exactly, and throughout most of the show, they have been telling the audience that everybody had been tested. Then at the very end of the show, right before they switched, it came out that Brett Baer had especially researched it, and they found out from the Trump people right at the end that there were people there, a lot of people that were not tested. Is that what you saw, Louise?
It's like they're turncoats.
Right?
What's wrong with these people on Fox?
Well, they hate the people on Fox. They hate Trump. That's part of the problem. And
they're in a tough position at Fox because they are obligated to try to be somewhat neutral, and yet everything that was going down was not. The material was not neutral. The material, what you're seeing in that convention, or in that
yeah,
was all pro-Trump.
Well, as you know, we've been talking about this for the past 40 minutes or so, and as we've been talking, I've been going through all the mainstream websites, Fox News, CNN, everything. I've not seen any mention of this in any of the mainstream news sources. No. What I'm telling you is maybe they've gotten some other. Maybe they found out that the original reporting was inaccurate, and that's why it's kind of disappearing. The lack of reporting on it this morning. I can't find a story on it this morning.
There's a lack of.
Believe me, they're desperate. That all precautions were taken. I don't know about tested, but they want to grab on. No, yeah, I hope. Oh, good. I hope so.
No, even if there are no cases that come out of last night, they're still going to jump up. But they don't have a lot to.
Well, that's why they would be jumping on this morning, I think, if it were true. Okay, all right, let's take some. Thanks for calling. Katina, you're on the radio. Katina. Yep.
Brian?
Yes, Katina, go ahead.
I'm sorry. The precaution that was taken for President Trump was his taking the HCQ treatment. He doesn't have to.
Yeah, but that's true. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about not whether Trump can or
Steve
will
Kane
or
Show.
won't come down with it. We're talking about
You'll be
creating
next.
a situation where the Democrats have good material today to reverse the attention that they've been getting. The Democrats have been looking very bad, and all of a sudden giving them another weapon to fight with.
I don't
No
think
sense.
so, because the Republicans right now have knocked it out of the park.
There's no question of that. So why introduce an element? Why introduce an unstable element that you're not in control of? The results.
They'll just prove them wrong again. It'll be used against them. I'm not even concerned about that.
Well, let me ask you, Katina, about the next thing. Do you accept Brett Baer's reporting on this last night as truth, Katina?
Listen to him anymore.
Yeah, that's a no. Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
The thing is on so late, the convention, that the only
Steve Kane Show.
The only station I'll listen to is OAN.
Yeah, I hear you.
And also with OAN, this morning I saw the report on the kid with the
Rittenhouse, the murderer in Wisconsin. Yeah.
Right, him. And I couldn't come to a conclusion. They give very good reporting. And
Well, we're not reporters. This is talk radio. We've got to have opinions, and we make rash conclusions that may be inaccurate, but,
yeah, I understand your opinion. I think this is a great show because we all, we're as conservatives, we are united in our beliefs, I believe, but we have different opinions. We're independent thinkers, and anyway.
Yeah.
You said that he wasn't affected by anything that's going on that could have triggered this whole situation. Number one, all this violence that's going on, the media has really escalated all of this situation and the pandemic, the reaction to this
Steve Kane Show.
Pandemic hoax, and all of these things, his hormones. He's going to get off like Zimmerman.
Oh, you're talking about the killer, the kid killer. Yeah. That happens a lot of times. All right, hey Katina, I appreciate the call. We got to run for a break. Steve, on the line, we have your attorney on the line, Attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning attorney. Barry Siegel, good morning. Yeah.
At the Siegel Law Group, how are things going this morning, Barry?
Things are going well, Steve, and good morning, Brian. How you guys doing?
Excellent.
Good. We often talk on the Steve Kane Show about protecting your assets from the cost of long-term care and finding out if you could qualify for government benefits like Medicaid, about setting up trusts and estate planning to avoid probate and other major benefits of having an estate plan. But we don't often talk about probate itself and what happens when a loved one passes, what to do next. And sometimes some families will have to go through probate. Sometimes they'll have to have their trust administered to some extent. And so then the question is what to do. Well, what we do at our office is we will do a free post-death consultation for the trustee or personal representative, because frankly, most people have never served in these capacities before and don't know what to do. So we can help families in a situation where a family member or somebody close passed away, so that you'll have guidance as to what to do as the next step and take care of making sure that everything gets transferred the way it's supposed to be transferred.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing. And one other thing you do, Barry, that is unheard of in law practices is you do not charge for phone calls. Can you tell people what that's about and why you do not do that?
What we found over the years, and this happens mainly when somebody comes in and sets up a trust, there's a very important next step called funding the trust. That's transferring your assets from your name into the trust. And it's a bit of a process, it's some paperwork, and there's usually going to be some questions afterwards. And what we have realized is that many people who have questions that ought to be asked and ought to be answered will not call when they know that they're going to get some kind of bill in the mail, one of those little 0.1 or 0.2 hours where it's going to be $75 or $105, whatever it might be. And if they don't ask that question and don't get that issue handled, then their estate plan's not.
That's right. Yeah.
Sure, Steve. Our toll-free number is 855-SLA estate. That's 855-SLA-3782. And they can also check us out on our website, www.siegellawgroup.com. That's Siegel, S-I-E-G-E-L, lawgroup.com.
All right, Barry. Appreciate that. Great, awesome stuff. All right, let's go back to our busy phones. You're on the radio. Good morning. Yes, you're on the air. Go ahead. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is Richard. I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, Richard.
And my comment is directed towards Steve this morning. We already live in a fear-based world. And I think that Steve's comment is adding to the fear base that's already permeating the country. I think that what
can you tell me how? Can you tell me how? Can you tell me how?
Morning is what he had to say this morning was really not founded. He's living in a hypothetical world, and as Kayleigh McEnany say, we don't live in hypotheticals anymore. So I think that you should be careful with hypotheticals the show was going really great this morning, and all of a sudden we get the Debbie Downer, wah wah. And we should try and stay away from that. Keep the positive energy. I think that would be great.
So in other words, if we see something that represents a danger, perhaps, because it sounds like you and I are on the same page.
Oh, he hung up, Steve. He hung up.
Okay.
He called you Debbie Downer.
Do you know why he hung up?
Why?
Because he knew he was going to be questioned on what he had said.
Yeah. All right, let's. By the way, our number toll free 1-888-GO-KANE 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning. That call with Katina was priceless. He called this pandemic a hoax. 170.
Yeah. If that, listen, if you're so heartbroken, why did you begin your call with a chuckle? If it's such a serious thing, when we said you're on the air, you didn't you hear a chuckle, Steve? You laughed. What were you laughing at? Sicko. Well, I'm sorry there's a new network that's countering your mainstream narrative of things. Any comments on the convention?
You got the robo-doll, Jeanette Nolan, our lieutenant governor. I don't know who spiked her drink, but she came out across as being a lunatic. Then you got the wonderful...
Hold on. Stop. She came... Hold on. Can you shut this guy up? Al, tell me what she said that indicates to you she's a lunatic.
And intoxicated.
Give me an example.
Very simple. She says, we're not going to be a socialist country. We're not going to become a socialist country. We already are a socialist.
Well, no, to you, who lives off the dole and doesn't work for a living. Yeah, we're already a socialist country.
You're conceding our point. You agree with this? Okay.
That's great.
It may cause me to rethink my position.
If this is a socialist country, why is Bernie Sanders a multi-millionaire? Why does he not spread his wealth around? Why does he hoard it?
You're saying it's too late. We're already a socialist country.
Listen, when Kimberly.
Listen.
He can't even say her name. Kimberly? You mean Kimberly Guilfoyle? Kimberly Guilfoyle? Kimberly.
Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Maybe you're just not used to speaking about girls. Maybe that's what it is.
She's about as hot a woman as you ever want to.
What happened to that fake girlfriend of yours that you were going to meet up with from Brazil? The stripper.
Well, she's not a stripper. Stop saying that. She's got two wonderful kids.
Nothing wrong with being a dancer.
Jordan and Malia.
Yeah, but why? Yeah, Malia. They're named after the Obamas. I thought she was going to call us on the air. To confirm that she was involved with you. See, we're starting to think it's a fictitious girlfriend.
It's not a fictitious girlfriend.
Yeah, it is a fictitious. Oh my gosh, enough. Oh my goodness. Oh, enough. I don't even know. If I'd have known that was him, I would not have taken the call. I apologize to the audience. I had some audio soundbite. Oh, I got to throw. I had an emergency happen. I'm going to throw this out, and then I'm going to get to the audio soundbites. I had an emergency last night, crisis, which was luckily solved. Yesterday afternoon, around 5:30, between 5:30 and 6, my air conditioning went out. It was blowing hot air, and my wife, because of her health situation, that's deadly, right? And we immediately took to the phones and called every air conditioning repair place you can call, all the big guys that are available day and night, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We couldn't get anyone to come out. It was luckily, I know a little bit about such things. I was able to repair my air conditioning myself, which most people could not do. I'm very lucky that I have some skill sets. But people would tell us, Steve, we'll call you back in 20 minutes with the truck. Never called back. Some people called back hours later, told us they could be there the next day. Well, that wasn't a problem. We had Phil Thomas and his sons, man, they would have been there in a heartbeat, but they're no longer around. Phil Thomas retired and left the area. And yeah, there was one guy. This one person said, listen to this. This one person I called, they said, okay, it's $175 to come out. There's no guarantee they can repair it on site, but it's still $175. I'm like, gee, thanks a lot. And then they couldn't come out till today. So listen, this is not having air conditioning here in Florida this time of year. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity, and in my case, a health necessity. So the reason I bring this up, if you are an air conditioning repair company that actually comes out and repairs people's AC when it's broken, call me, get in touch with us here on the show. We want to talk to you about advertising on the program, because I didn't realize, Steve, how difficult it was to get someone to come out and get an air conditioner running again. It's not an easy task, and I called all the ones I could find online. So get in touch with us. Yeah, well, unfortunately, he's gone, so we need a new Phil Thomas. So get in touch with us, guys. All right, I wanted to get in some of these audio sound bites. This one here, Anderson Cooper, the admiral in charge of the National Health Service, the guy Grinnell, the guy that's got the French name, you know, he's saying something. I don't know if he's gay. You know. Which one are you talking about?
No.
Really? He's gay? Huh?
The only cabinet official.
Wow. The admiral from the health service? Well, that's interesting. Anderson Cooper must not be aware of that, because he was attacking him last night. Well, apparently, I'm not sure what the issue was, but apparently he said some things in favor. I think you're talking about someone else. No, that's someone else. I'm talking about the admiral that's in charge of the National Health Service. Gray-haired guy. I think he's straight. But anyway, it doesn't matter. His sexuality is unimportant for this point. They call him the testing czar sometimes, this guy. And you see him there in his admiral's uniform. He's the head of the National Health Service. He's the boss of the Surgeon General. And he's made some comments about the vaccine and some things that are going in a positive direction. And Anderson Cooper had a fit last night. Listen.
Admiral Giroux, who's, by the way, not an admiral. He's works for public health. He gets the title of an admiral, but he's not a Navy admiral. He gets to wear a uniform it's a Navy uniform, but he's not in the Navy. He says it's to reflect current evidence.
Okay, so he goes into these other things. Grinnell never claimed to be in the Navy. The National Health Service is another branch of the military, and they wear uniforms and have ranks. It's like the Coast Guard. And they're so desperate they're trying to act like he's a fraud, pretending to be in the Navy. He's not. He never claimed to be in the Navy. Anderson Cooper's just having a fit. This convention, they're unglued on CNN. They're really losing it on CNN. They're when they take these kind of criticisms. Now, Rachel Maddow had some analysis of the convention last night. You want to hear some of it? Rachel Maddow, MS13BC.
Brian,
Steve Kane Show.
I have to say this felt like a long night from the Republican National Convention, in part because a lot of the speeches were very long, including Mike Pence's. And while that wouldn't usually matter to me that much, they did go out of their way to showcase the fact that this is an event with an audience. And our reporting suggests that there was not universal testing of everybody who was invited to this event, and to have so many elderly veterans or otherwise elderly people in this audience not sitting socially distanced, the vast majority of them not wearing any masks, for this to go on for a very long time, including a lot of chanting and shouting. I feel concern for what's happening here, especially after what happened at the Tulsa rally and at other Trump events when they have done.
So there you go. That's yeah.
Now all she needs is a press release from somebody reporting that it only takes 4 or 5 people coming down with it.
Yeah.
Right away, the news, the focus of the news cycle switches to them from us.
Well,
wonderful points from last night. We're on the defensive.
Here's what I think. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be the first to tell you that it was Trump's decision not to.
Well, here's what I think might have. Well, the reason I had that, by the way, that audio this morning before we talked. No. Because we've been talking, lots of calls. I didn't want to cloud the show up with sound bites. No. I'll tell you, though. I'll tell you what this clip tells me. This is very interesting. Because I saw Rachel, but I didn't see Bret Baier. This is what I think happened last night on Fox News. I think Rachel Maddow said it first, based on the timing of everything. And Bret Baier and Fox News were just plagiarizing Rachel Maddow on MSNBC. I don't think any of them have any sources that are in the know. Only that I see them plagiarize one another constantly. I don't think any of them have any sources. Correct. I have no evidence other than my common sense. I think Bret Baier was regurgitating Rachel Maddow's false reporting. And I think Rachel Maddow was Bret Baier's source. That's what I think.
That's a stretch.
No, I don't think it's a stretch at all. Let's take one call before we break. You're on the radio.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You called us. You must have something to say.
Oh, no. Yeah, 2 words. Jack Brewer. The guy was amazing. Well, Mike Pence, everybody.
Which one was Brewer? Which one's Jack Brewer?
He was the tall black gentleman that was the ex-football player, I believe. He was on...
yes.
The chimney sweep. Yeah.
Yeah, he was amazing. And Mike Pence...
It was great.
A guy like that...
Hey there.
Yeah.
Steve Kane Show.
And Rachel's wrong. There wasn't enough. It was 11:30 when it
Steve
was
Kane
over,
Show.
and I was like waiting for more. I was waiting for Trump to speak, but Mike Pence is a...
Yeah, and Pence's wife, I've never seen her speak before, and I saw her last night. She was pretty impressive. But, just to finish up with what we were saying, Steve, I think Bret Baier had no source. I think Rachel Maddow was Bret Baier's source on the no-testing mask story. I'm telling you, that's just my common sense.
That's not... Sense is telling you that Fox News goes to MSNBC?
Yes, they're all incestuous. They're all buddies. And they do this all the time. Don't they, caller?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they're each other's sources. Appreciate the call. Oh, look, it's time to talk to Richard Pearl from Simply Natural. Hey, Richard Pearl.
Hey, good morning. So,
good morning.
I'm having this debate in my
Steve
head.
Kane Show.
Do I go with something happy to talk about today or something dark? And I don't know which direction.
Oh, thank you. We don't want to end the, we're in the last stretch of the show. We want to be happy.
Something really dark to talk about Saturday on the health, on Pearls of Health. So I'll say it for
Saturday and Sunday at noon, darkness on the radio. Yeah, right.
I don't want to.
So what's the happy thought?
The happy is, I'm glad you pointed me that way. So if you take vitamin D and K, D3 and K2, you will lower your risk of death from all causes. There's a new study in European Journal of Nutrition looked at the greater risk of premature mortality among men and women when they have lower levels of vitamin D and K2. And I've got a great product at the store, very inexpensive. It's got the proper amount of D3 and K2 to jump both levels. D3 is very important to everything. Everything associated with your health is tied to vitamin D. And K2 also in a different way because it brings down inflammation in the arteries. It gets rid of excess calcium, SSD, and it turns off certain genes that express cancer. And when you take the two together, you get an incredible benefit, far greater than either one alone. And So they did this study, and they saw that people who took the vitamin D and the K together, and K2 is different than K1. K1 is a clotting agent, K2 isn't. K2 just pulls out the excess calcium and brings down the inflammation, all the things and other things that are necessary to wellness. And they found that people live much longer, jump the levels, very inexpensive, easy to do, 1 pill a day, and I can't even make it any simpler than that. 1 pill a day, right dose. I have it at the store. We've been doing this for years. This study is just.
Well, that's great information. Very happy stuff. Now, listen, if for whatever reason you cannot make it in person to Simply Natural in Sunrise, which is just north of Sunset Strip, east side of University, they do ship, and they're open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can call Richard Pearl's store, Simply Natural, at 954-741-4045. 954-741-4045. All right, Richard Pearl, we'll end up the week tomorrow. Oh, that's great. Awesome. I love the carrier pigeon. All right, I used to know a guy into pigeons, and they actually do that. All right, the phones are cooking, Steve. You're on the radio. You're on the radio. Good morning. It's a character from something. I can't remember what. A movie. I can't remember which one. Is it on the waterfront? See, I know stuff. You're on the radio. Mike and Boca with the turn signal on. I hear your turn signal.
I gotta tell Steve, when you get home, please put on Animal Planet till 8 o'clock, because you can't watch the news today. We still got 70 days. Brian started off with a strong show about that kid with the gun. It was pretty hard. It was pretty hardcore. When you came on, it really.
Oh, you're depressing people. You're depressing people with the thing. Yeah.
Watch Animal Planet.
I want to disagree. I want to disagree with everything you said. First off, I will agree that the first half of the show was hot, it is every day I'm on the radio. But I think the second part was at least equally as exciting, because we're disagreeing. Steve and I are taking issue. We're at each other's throats. The callers are attacking Steve. The callers are attacking me. This is awesome stuff. You don't want us to turn this into the Cephalo show with Manny, you know.
I want Steve to be happy.
Do you want to be happy, Steve? He doesn't think you're happy. Mike, next time you call in, you're a good guy.
We're a winner.
Hey, Mike, next time you call in, please put the turn signal off. It's driving me nuts. I can hear it. Click, click, click. All right, you're on the radio. Good morning. Caller, you're on the air.
Lee from Lauderdale Lakes.
It's me from Lauderdale Lakes? Lee. Oh, Lee. Lee. Okay, Lee. Lee, are you at... Yeah, okay.
I love the show. I love the interaction with you and Steve. But Steve, this morning, even if what Steve is saying is correct, we're still winning. Fox knows it. CNN knows it. Those guys know it. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to plant seeds of doubt. So Steve, even if what you're saying happens, Donald Trump is still going to win, because he's winning. And he's winning so much that...
Oh, I think so.
So Steve, even if Brett Beer was...
I agree. I don't think he's blown it. I think we're still way in front. I just am... You can't be too cautious,
Steve Kane Show.
Lee. That's all I'm saying. Because we don't want to get reckless because we're in front.
Lee, let me ask you, Lee, you've been listening for a while. Do you agree with me that Brett Baer's source is likely Rachel Maddow?
They all have it on...
Yeah, they do it all the time. Yes.
At the end of the show, to drop that, to have a person like Steve to get up this morning, they want him to do that. When they know Brian Trump is winning. Listen, even if Mr. Trump made a wrong decision, it still won't take him down, because he's winning.
Trump's never wrong. He's always right.
Oh, I agree with that. I don't think at this point. I may be being overly cautious, but I just, when I think we had it sewed up, I don't want to put in any element of question. I don't want to give them material. There's no reason to hand them a loaded gun.
But Steve, the convention has been so great that they can.
Yeah. Hey, Lee, thanks for the call, and welcome. All right, let's take another call. You're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. So, yeah, Steve, I watched last night through the end and noticed, talking to my wife, I said, geez, look, nobody's wearing a mask. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what Brett Baer says. I watch One American News. It doesn't matter what these pundits say because most of America is over the corona hoax.
People are ready to move on. I don't know about hoax, but they're ready to move on.
You're not telling me, hold on, listen to me, caller. You're not telling me that the Democrats wouldn't welcome an opportunity to open that whole thing up again if there were some people died as a result of this, or people that tested positive as a result of Trump's decision. You don't think the Democrats would use that? I'm not saying it would turn around this marvelous convention we had. I'm just saying, why help them?
You're right. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Are you there?
But at the end of the day, even if the Democrats do that, people are over this. Back in March and April, this was much. This was very deadly. Now it's much.
Now let me on an unrelated matter, something you mentioned about One American News caller. I know a lot of people in the past have been turned off One American News because the talent was not, They have made some major changes as far as their on-air staff. Have you noticed this lately?
Steve, you'll be happy because they have some really good-looking women on now. So now about the situation with that kid in Kenosha.
Oh, the killer kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. He was wrong, but what was that movie? I'm mad as hell and I can't take it anymore. People, this is what this is going to lead.
Network.
No, that was, this kid, this murderer in Wisconsin, 17 years old, illegally possessing a weapon because he's not 18, crossed state lines and declared himself a law enforcement officer, shot 2 people dead and blew the arm off a third. Come on.
The only thing I'm surprised is that it hasn't happened before this.
Well, I'm not surprised, but there were 2 deaths. There were 2 deaths in Wisconsin the other night. Both of them were from this guy. There were 3 shootings. They all were from him. And so far as the mob attacking him with the skateboard, I'm hearing, well, he was shooting people, okay? And the skateboard is all they had.
It's always when the news reports it, it's protesters, not looters and rioters, which is what they are. Burning the heck out of things. It's protest.
Well, how would you describe this Rittenhouse punk? How would you describe this lunatic? Oh, really? So you're saying he's cool? You're cool with what he did? Oh, I read him different. I think he's a wannabe cop who saw an opportunity to grab his gun, cross state lines, and play policeman.
Right, but what led him to that?
I don't know. I mean, that picture of him, like the famous one with Oswald, the one where he's wearing the Crocs and the black socks up to his knees and shorts, that he's holding the gun, posing with the gun. I mean, he's a nut.
Glad they arrested him. I'm in agreement with you. I mean,
a lot of conservatives, though, are defending this kid.
Destroying businesses.
Yeah, but we only had one that killed people the other night. We had people that attacked buildings, you're correct. But we only had one that killed 2 people, and that's this guy.
And you notice, getting back
Steve
to the
Kane
original
Show.
thing with this Jacob guy, the guy who got shot, now the second video of him resisting arrest has showed up. his court record has showed up that he was wanted.
The court record's irrelevant. The court record's irrelevant. His previous record's irrelevant.
They had a warrant out for his arrest for for sexual.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, he resisted the police. He escaped from police custody. He had a knife, and he got into his vehicle to get something out. So, you know, that's the important. Oh, listen, we got to run for our break, our last break of the day. We will be back right after this.
Someone who has coronavirus? Steve Kane's wife Lori did, and she went to any lab test now of Coral Springs to find out if she has coronavirus.
So I came into contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID, and I was scared, and I needed results right away, so I went to any lab test now in Coral Springs. It was great. I didn't want to have to stay in line for 2 hours and have a swab down my nose and in my brain. It was very pleasant. I made an appointment. They got me in within the hour. I was out of there within 20 minutes. Thank goodness the test was negative, and I can go back to work tomorrow. They also tested me for the antibodies, and I haven't been exposed. So do what I did. Go over to any lab test now at Coral Springs. They give great rates for Steve Kane listeners, and tell them we sent you.
It's worth 15 minutes of your time to have peace of mind and know that you and your family are safe. Any lab test now of Coral Springs is located at 955 North University Drive on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall. You can call them at 954-906-5983. 954-906-5983. Any lab test now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
This is Dr. Matez from the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. Have you lost the sensation in your breasts with age or as a result of breast implants? Do you have scars, stretch marks, or the dreaded droop? Great news, we can correct it all with a simple, non-surgical treatment known as the vampire breast lift. This procedure is so quick and simple, you can do it on your lunch break. If those spectacular breast implants aren't so spectacular anymore, or if you wish to rejuvenate your natural breast tissue, soften scars and stretch marks, and regain sensation, the vampire breast lift is for you. Call me at 561-953-5490. That's 561-953-5490, or visit my website at www.hormonetherapybocaraton.com.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, we're back.
We're back. So we all look forward to the Steve Kane Show. William Younger, one of the world's leading experts on the precious metals. He's been advising clients and movements in the gold, silver, and platinum markets for over 50 years, 16 of those years, right here on the Steve Kane Show with the Gold Show Report. William, how are things looking today?
Looking good, Steve. The markets are showing some amazing resilience over the last couple of days. And this is things that we've been talking about regularly now, that these dips, when we get a chance to buy, they come quickly. You've got to be on to actually take advantage of them. And yesterday we saw a classic example of that as gold ran all the way down to $1,902, finding great support as we have for the last couple of weeks at that $1,900 number, and then immediately bounced right back up to a high of $1,956, closing out the day at $1,954.70 the ounce, up $26.30. As I've been saying all along, these dips come quickly. You've got to take advantage of them, and this market is extremely resilient, and a lot of buying on the sidelines, waiting for these opportunities when they come. Silver did similar, was down pretty dramatically, and then turned around and closed up $1.02 yesterday at $27.55. That's a dollar move in silver. Platinum was up $4 at $9.26, and palladium was up $16 at $2,077. Overnight, we saw a similar kind of thing, only just what we're seeing is higher lows and higher highs, actually. And so we saw gold get up to $1,955 overnight. We pulled back early this morning around to about $1,931 the ounce. Right now, we're moving back up again at $1,940 the ounce. That's down $14.50 after yesterday's $26 move. But actually, yesterday we had a $55 swing in the price of gold when you consider the range that we pulled. Silver right now down 38 cents at $27.17. Very resilient around that $26 number. 26 seems to be holding very strong on silver. Platinum down $2 at 900, or actually unchanged right now at 926, and palladium down $23 at $2,054. So again, we are still in a trading range, but a very good accumulation range for those of you looking to add to your position on all of the precious metals.
And for those of you out there who have items that contain precious metals, say, for example, watches or jewelry, estate jewelry, anything like that, if you want to turn it into cash, William buys the precious metals as well as sells them. Tell them how that works.
Sure. For over 50 years, we've made a good two-way market in all the precious metals, regardless of the form, whether it's jewelry or watches or any number of things, or coins or anything. But we've had a record number of people coming in over the last few weeks that are Steve Kane listeners that are turning in some of those old broken pieces of jewelry, things that they don't use anymore, don't wear anymore, and taking advantage of these nice prices that they're getting for their old jewelry and watches. Again, we have all precious metals in stock for immediate delivery, and our hours are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
All right, you can drop in anytime today, 150 East Palmetto Park Road. Now that is the Bank of America building. You'll find William on the first floor directly across from the bank. You can reach William by phone. Give him the number, William.
Sure, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010.
And don't forget the website at williamyoungerman.com. William, great talking to you. We'll finish up the week tomorrow, all right?
Okay, have a great day. Thanks.
All right, okay. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. Michael in Boca.
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Steve. How are you guys? I got to tell you, you asked that one.
Good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How would you describe that 17-year-old? And in one word, he's a murderer.
Yes.
This, Brian, you're hitting the nail on the head. There are murders going on every day in this country by incredible numbers that we've never seen. But why is this one the only one that's getting the amount of coverage that it's getting? There are the kids. Nobody stood up for that little 5-year-old kid that was.
Well, no, you're right. What's amazing, this killer kid in Wisconsin, 17 years old, and immediately they have the minor's name out. They got his whole social media platform. We know that he's been to a MAGA rally. I mean, I've never seen a reveal this fast. Not for someone who's underage. Well, I take that back. Nick Sandman, that was at the convention the other night. The media got his info out quick too, to slander him. Yeah, but these murders that have taken place at these protests around the country, little kids were murdered. I haven't seen their killers identified publicly. Not like this.
Exactly, and I must say, on a lighter note, I don't know about you guys. I'm sure you agree. I love the patriotic pieces that they are putting together on this convention. I am like a huge fan of that with the music and the history, and I just.
Yeah.
A little suggestion. I may be a sucker, but I just recently signed up for Fox Nation, and there's so much of that patriotic feel-good history on there, and there's a lot of Bible stuff too. If you're into that, which I am. But I gotta tell you, if you want to feel good. I'm not trying to promote it financially, but it's not a lot of money. But
I tried Fox Nation. It wasn't for me. It seemed like a lot of third-rate talent that's not good enough to be on TV over there. I'm going to throw this out just to cause a little trouble at Fox News. I believe Fox News is planning on getting rid of Brian Kilmeade and replacing him with Pete Hegseth. Just I'm throwing that out. I got an inkling of that. Yeah, but I think there's a move to that.
They're both excellent. Brian Kilmeade is exactly the one that makes me like. He does all those historic. He talks. You should have seen the interview he did with Karen Pence, showing the vice president's house. Did you see that?
Oh, the Naval Observatory. I didn't see the special, but I've seen it before. Yeah. Did they talk about? Did they point out that Biden used to swim naked in the swimming pool at the vice president's residence in front of female Secret Service agents?
I think that was JFK.
No, Biden too. Biden swam naked in the vice presidential residence swimming pool in front of female Secret Service agents regularly. Can you imagine? That's what you want to see.
It's not been mentioned. It has not been mentioned, but I wanted to say before we go off the air. Boy, can you see a difference between Republican women and Democratic women? We talked about this yesterday. I mean, where did they get all these gorgeous women? Every single one of them. There wasn't an unattractive woman up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. The Democrats all look like Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah.
Everybody got sick of that.
You know, yeah, go ahead. Oh, Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, they do great work. They work on my car, Steve's car, my daughter's car. You know, one thing that Trump brought up yesterday was I thought was so right on the money, and it tells us he knows something. He's talking about Biden taking a drug test before the debate. He believes that Biden was drugged up before he debated Bernie because he was awake. And I thought that was such an interesting comment that people forget that he's the president.
The question is he going to drop it or is he going to push it?
No, he's going to push it. And he talked in detail. He gave detail about how he was awake in the Bernie Sanders debate. And people forget that he's the president and he gets intel, real intel. He's informed. This isn't just rumor monger, you know. And so he knows, probably through Secret Service reporting, because they report to him that Joe Biden was drugged for the Bernie Sanders debate. He said he'll take a drug test. Now, and we know Biden's not. What could they give him to wake him up for a debate like that? I don't know. You're the drug guy, Steve. What are they?
My drug of choice is caffeine.
Yeah, it had to be more than caffeine. Adderall. What's Adderall? What's Adderall?
Well, I wonder. I think it's interesting. It's an interesting question. It's an interesting question whether he's going to push that or not, or whether it was a one-shot.
I hope he keeps pushing it.
It's good because Biden. We all know what Biden's going to do. He hasn't been refused to do it. It's going to be another victory for Trump. Those are the kind of shots you want to take.
Hey, yeah. By the way, caller, thanks so much for the good word on Champagne Auto. Take care. We're out of time, Steve.
Well, that does it. I see that my chief engineer, Tyler Kane, here to take me off the air. On behalf of Tyler and Brian, of course, my friend and partner, until tomorrow morning, God bless America.
This is Dr. Matez from the Boca Raton Center for Age Management. Have you lost the sensation in your breast?
All right, guys, listen. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you're new here, this is the Steve Kane Radio Show. I'm Brian Craig. That was Steve you were just listening to. This is the longest running radio show in Florida. We're here live streaming. We're on 4 radio stations, 3 FMs and an AM here in Florida. And we live stream here on YouTube every morning from 6 until 9 Eastern Time. And you're welcome, okay, to join us. So subscribe. If you are subscribed, please check and make sure you're subscribed. Click the notification bell, like the video, and share the video. That'd be great, too, if you don't. I know it's a lot, but I would appreciate if you would do all that.
96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
All right, guys, take care. I'll see you all later.